to episode 62 of Directly to You, Fanatics 4 podcast where we talk about Nintendo news every week except for last week because my laptop charger shorted out.
Woo!
And
Fun
that
times.
was a fun time. I just saw a spark and I was like, what was that? And then it just stopped working. And I was like, all right, well, that's the thing. So I went on Amazon and was like, rush deliver. Hopefully it gets here tomorrow. It didn't get there on time, so we didn't have it.
True.
So
yeah, we tried.
We tried.
We tried to get some times together to work out, and at some point, yeah, it was just like it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it just kept getting later and later and bleeding into other stuff, and I'd rather us just not do that and then the video not be affected than to like keep moving the goalpost and then the video be late because of that.
Yep.
So that's that.
Yep. But here we are.
Stuff. You can become a member on youtube.com/fanatics4 for $4.99, and you'll get exclusive emotes, loyalty badges, game time with us whenever I feel like playing Smash Brothers. You see me on Smash Brothers, you'll be on my friends list, my best friends list, I should say specifically, which means you'll get to see like, oh, Andrew's playing Smash Brothers. Hit me up on Twitter. Say, yo, I want to play Smash Brothers, and I'll play. Just ask Falcon. Also, like free Switch keys from time to time, yada, yada, yada. You can also support through Anchor listener support, but just do YouTube, True. Anchor listener support is more just like a tip jar sort of situation where it's like, I don't want to give you the $5, but like, I can give you something below that just because I like the thing that you're doing. But outside of that wraps that up. How you doing, Parker?
Nice. Yeah, I'm doing all right. I was this week's been an interesting week. I'm glad to be doing this.
Yeah,
this is lots of fun. So
my weekend's been good. Had one thing. You know about that. Not getting into that though.
Nope.
So besides that, you playing any games?
Yeah, I let's see. I was just playing, waiting for us to get started. I was just playing Undertale some more. I've been playing some other stuff too, but Undertale. So I beat it on Monday maybe, and it's probably like casual or like leisurely. It takes about maybe 6 hours to beat, 5 hours to beat, like not very long. I'd started it way back when at some point a couple months ago, and then had other stuff come up and was playing that instead, and then came back to it and then finished up the campaign. And like I remembered hearing people saying like, oh, I just beat Undertale, but like I really want to go back through and play it again now. And I always thought it was like, I don't know, like,
like,
when you're done watching, where it's like, oh, it's, I'm done watching my favorite show, I just want to start it back up again because I love it or something like that. But it's more like,
I don't even know if you want to say why.
Oh no, I'm not even gonna say why, but like now I understand like it's not just a question of it's not just a question of I really like playing it.
Yeah.
It's almost more like in a sense of movies where it's like, you notice stuff the second time around that you didn't see the first time, like that kind of a thing, where it's like, oh, okay. So needless to say,
that's a good way to
describe it. I definitely don't want to spoil anything. It's have you played Undertale?
I played a little bit of it on Steam, oddly enough, because another YouTuber who I don't know if I want to talk about because they have tweeted some controversial stuff.
Interesting.
But it
was me.
Clearly in the early days of this channel, like before I really started uploading, I like was kind of friends with them, and they like they would give me like editing tips and stuff like that. And just in like regular conversation, he was like, "Yo, you gotta play this game." He's like, if you don't play this game, if you play this game and you don't love it, then I'll buy you any $60 game. I was like, all right.
I'm okay to lie about not loving a game.
Yeah. And I didn't love it, it's not my type of game, but like, I wasn't going to be like, yeah, give me that $60, So it was like, whatever, dude, like, just chuck it up as a loss. I get it. I get why people immediately go back.
It's one of those things too where like as I was playing through it, like I know people love it, and it wasn't until like it's again, it's kind of like watching movies where like at the end it's just like, oh wow, the movie's so much better now that I've gotten the full picture of everything. But through it was like, oh, this is a fun game, like this is cool, it's really funny, it's got a lot of just jokes throughout the game. But yeah, really definitely towards the end is where it like starts to shift, and it's the whole time it's pretty metagamey too. So it's overall, yeah, it's worth playing. It's not very long anyway, so if it's something that you're kind of interested in the gist for, then it's worth playing. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's like my favorite game ever, or even necessarily that I love it, but like I really enjoy it, and the lore is just really deep, and it's just cool because even though it's not super long, like I was looking up, I'm only going through and doing one other run, and then I'm going to be done. Like I'm not going to do all the different options, but I was looking up some of the runs that I'm not going to be doing to see like, oh, well, what happens if you do it this way? And it's like so many branching paths, kind of not. There's only like probably a couple main branching paths, like 3, maybe 4, like main kind of different ways you can do it. But a lot of little things affect some other stuff too that may not completely change the game, but will change who you interact with at a certain time, or if you do this thing with this guy, then like later it's going to show up somewhere different, that kind of stuff. So it's been fun. Yeah, I'm like just about back up to around the final boss kind of area, and I don't know what that'll be like now because it's just I'm playing it differently now than I was before, but I'm enjoying it. So been playing that. And
are you planning to go into Deltarune after you finish that?
You know what? That's a good question. I almost want to wait until. I guess so. I kind of want to wait until like the whole game comes out and not like do just the first chapter or whatever it is that we've got now. But if it's going to be forever until the game comes out, maybe,
Yeah. Do we even have like a timeline on that? Like, has he talked about that?
I don't think so. I'll check now because I didn't really care to find out before. It didn't really affect me.
Like I downloaded Deltarune and I don't even have Undertale on Switch because it was like, like, and I didn't want to like. I did not see myself making a video about it, so I didn't want to hit anybody up and be like, "Yo, send me the Undertale."
Yeah. I don't even know. I mean, just out of curiosity, do people still send out like review codes or keys or whatever this much later anyway for games? I don't know. Like if you were okay.
Like sometimes there'll be a situation where it's like I want to like check in on this game and see how this is, like, because like we'll do a lot of like retrospective stuff where it's like the best games you can play this way. So like sometimes I'll hit up Nintendo, like I hit them up for Hyrule Warriors because I was like I played it a little bit because Logan had it, but I never like played through it. So I hit them up and was like, hey, can I get Hyrule Warriors? And they sent it to me, and that was like 4 months after it came out, probably longer than that even.
Nice.
So yeah, it really just depends on if they have stock of the game still.
Yeah.
For purpose. But I mean that's Nintendo specifically. I don't know how a lot of other developers do it because I know that they do like plan out like when they use what supply they have. Because it's not you can't just be like, all right, print new key, like they're given a certain amount of keys that they're allowed
which
to
is so odd to me. Like I mean it makes sense, but it's still odd to me at the same time that something not physical is kept track of in a like specific way like that. Like I get it, but it's still like just funny to think about. Like I mean it feels equivalent of like I only have 12 hugs to give out, and like I'll give you 3 hugs today, but then like that's I don't know, that kind of thing.
Right.
I'm sure that's more than some people's limit of hugs anyway.
I think it's more of a like programming thing because like they do like if you see like me and Bob were talking about like this was something that we noticed because we get a lot of codes.
They're finally up to C or whatever.
It's like they're on this letter, like so it's like so I think that it is like a limited thing in some regard. It's it's not even something that they can necessarily just print limitless codes of and be fine.
That's interesting. But yeah, that's part of what I've been playing. Probably some other stuff too, but that was the main one that's worth talking about and fun. So
I've just been playing a lot of like bits and pieces of stuff because I want to make a video, spoilers, about the best online multiplayer games on Switch.
Nice.
I've just been playing a lot of that stuff. Like a little bit earlier, I was playing Splatoon. I haven't played a lot of like ranked on Splatoon because like before it was like the friends and family that I have that play Splatoon are always like, I just like Turf War, so we never play ranked. But my aunt recently got it, and by recently I mean like three months ago or something like that.
That counts compared to it coming out 2 years ago.
Yeah, and for context, again, my aunt is 4 months older than I am. So we were playing that. She was like, "You want to do ranked?"
78-year-old aunt got
exactly
2 weeks ago.
So it was like, because like I get to a point where, except for Smash Brothers, for the most part, multiplayer games, it's like, all right, been here, done this, don't really feel like doing this again. So like for Mario Kart, I kind of got burnt out on that on Wii U because I played like 200 hours of it or whatever. So I'm like, I'm done. You know, like I don't want to play it anymore. Except for like occasionally, like on streams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Splatoon's kind of in that same like bucket, except for ranked mode, because I haven't really played that much. So it's like I like the mechanics of the game, but just doing the whole turf war thing again is like just kind of got old. So being able to do that was fun, and I want to play more of that. And look into some other multiplayer games just to get a refresher.
Nice. Have you played Duck Game at all with not people you know, out of curiosity?
No.
Can you play with random people?
Yeah.
I don't even know. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I never even entertained it. I think Bob was talking about he played it a little bit and he got racked. But like I guess like I played it on stream with Bob, so technically I played it with people I don't know, like with viewers and stuff like that. But I haven't like played it with random people, like they joined our room, you know. So I haven't like did that whole thing. But I guess I'll look into that. But it was more, I mean, the video is more so going to be like games you can play with your friends that don't live near you, you know, like that.
Yeah.
So
no, there's a bunch of
what I've been doing.
I'll be curious about that video because I just don't even play online all that much. So although we'll be talking a little bit later about a game that's coming online that I will be using my online subscription for. Just saying.
Spoilers. We're talking about Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Although speaking of that one, before getting into like other news and stuff, I was like kind of hyped for that, like it'll be cool, it'll be fun. And then I like had the realization that one of my favorite GameCube games was the Lord of the Rings Return of the King game, and then realized that probably the setup for Marvel Ultimate Alliance, just kind of the way it works, like in general, probably going to be kind of similar to that, just as far as like level structure, because I'm sure it's going to be independent levels that you choose missions and then like level up characters, and which seems dumb that like realizing that it's similar to it doesn't seem dumb. Realizing it's similar to one of my favorite games on a console. It's like, oh, now I'm excited about it because I, realize that it's, I don't know, just something that I'll enjoy.
It's just, for me, it's like I'm interested because like the MCU, really.
Yeah,
like, I'm more interested in that world as a whole because like I've always been like a Spider-Man fan, but I haven't been like a huge comic book fan generally.
Right.
I have like bits and pieces of comic book characters that I care about, but not even really enough to like read a trade, you know, like that whole thing. So it's like, but now that the MCU is a thing, it's coming to Switch. It's just like this Venn diagram of like, sure. You know,
this will be fun. I am curious. I was talking to my friend Mitch, and we were like, "How?" So there's online multiplayer and local multiplayer.
I would assume because it was in the last games.
Yeah, and I looked it up, and so there is online multiplayer. So the local multiplayer makes sense as far as like I've got my pool of characters. If you come over my house, we'll be playing from my pool of characters, and like you level up my people or whatever. But with the online multiplayer, do you bring in your characters and do they level down to where I'm at, or do you borrow mine, or like how does that work?
I don't know. I haven't played the first two.
Yeah, I have no idea either.
So let me know in the comments, or let us know.
Yeah,
because it was
right.
Parker's question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down with whatever way it is, and I don't really like care in terms of like, oh, it's going to ruin the game, but I'm just curious how they do that.
I hear a lot of like different stuff. Some people are like, oh, it's like a Musou game, and then other people are saying like, oh, it's like Diablo, which
it doesn't seem, I mean, just from looking at it, it seems less like a Musou game. Well, I mean, I don't know. I barely saw any of it just from the trailer. But like, I think the thing that I don't really care about, that I don't really enjoy about Musou games, not having played a full one, by the way, just, saying that, but just from the gist of it is it's less about the combat specifically, but more about like controlling areas and like that kind of thing, it seems like, or at least in some of them. I don't know. In Fire Emblem Warriors and Hyrule Warriors, it seems like that's the case.
It just seems like to me the reason why like I haven't really latched onto those is it's like this formula that they only have just to experience an IP in a different form
Yeah.
you know, where it's
Hmm.
like it's kind of like vapid for the
Yeah.
most part.
It's
And
sort
they
of
have like
like
mm,
eating Mario Odyssey cereal. Like
yeah,
it was great to have Mario cereal, but it's like it's Lucky Charms. Like
yeah,
nothing wrong
exactly.
with that. It's we like Lucky Charms. That's great, but it's still like there's nothing Mario about this besides the box. But I mean,
Right.
nevertheless, I bought two of them, and I still have both of the boxes.
I have
So
one. I have one,
yeah,
and it's not even over here. I my uncle, who's also 4 years, he's Bob's age.
no,
He called me. He was like, "Yo, I got two boxes of cereal. One of them's yours." And it's like, okay, and just I just never got it.
nice.
But that's the thing.
Yep, it
That's
sure
the
is.
games we're playing.
That is the games we're playing. But moving into some games we like to be playing, i.e., news and stuff. Here's some news. Mario Maker 2 Direct happened the other day, and
What?
I cannot stop thinking about it.
So I just want a public apology from everyone,
Uh-huh.
including you. Um,
Including me.
yes, including you, because I continued to get people being like, "I don't know about that direct thing happening. I don't know if there's going to be a direct before E3." And
Uh-huh.
I've told you people, I'm telling you, there's going to be a direct before E3. I don't
Mhm.
know if it's going to be this like April
Mhm.
direct that everybody, because everybody's
Yeah.
like, this is the next direct. It's happening this month, and I'm so confident that I'm
Yep.
calling the next direct by the month and direct. That's just what this direct is called at this
Yep.
point. The only thing that I knew for sure was that we were getting some type of direct
Yep.
before E3. That I was 100% confident in,
Mhm.
and I was right. So
Yep. I could still
I
see
want my
maybe a
credit.
I could still see us getting something Pokemon as well. Like it would have to
Yeah,
be
I
in
don't know if
within the
it'll
next
be
2
a
weeks or
direct
so.
though. Yeah,
No, that's true. I mean, because the last couple times it's been more like a conference kind of a
yeah,
thing.
where
Um,
it's like we don't want this. Isn't Nintendo's. This is ours.
yeah, yeah, no, for sure. I think for maybe to retroactively clarify if that's even allowed. I think
No,
like
it's not.
all right, cool. The like multiple game, like the February director, that kind of game was I as soon as April was done, I was like, I can't see a way we get that. But I think if pressed, I probably would have been like, yeah, Mario Maker Direct makes sense. Mostly just because E3 seems like really late to kind of do a big blowout of it.
Yeah.
And it was,
I
or it
mean,
would have been.
granted,
Yes.
they've done that. I mean, even though
Yeah.
Mario Maker, it came out sort of close to E3 was September,
Uh-huh.
but they still like did the whole thing of like, and I remember E3 is specifically the thing that like pushed me over the edge of being like,
Yeah.
oh yes, I'm definitely getting this game because
Yep.
before it was like it felt kind of vapid, where it was
It
like
is.
you make Super Mario like the original game levels, and that's it. Like we didn't know anything about like the crazy like stackable villains and like
Mm-hmm.
add attributes to stuff, and like they didn't have all that stuff at the
Yep.
forefront yet. But with the like E3 demonstration, and then also it being in the World Championships, it was like, oh, this
Mm-hmm.
game's nuts. you
Yep.
know?
No, I think that's a really good point. Because I remember seeing stuff for Mario Maker. Like I didn't have a Wii U, and around when it was, I didn't watch any direct
How dare
stuff
you?
back then either. Yeah, I know.
How dare you?
Um,
You even watched the Rex?
no,
Wow,
I know. I was
fire,
completely out of the loop. Like as soon as
fire.
after the Wii U was announced, and I was one of the one definitely that just didn't get it. I was like, so wait, is this? Oh, so it's not a new console? It's just a Wii thing?
Mhm.
Like I was because I didn't watch the presentation. I mean, I just didn't even. I don't think I knew about E3 until
Wow.
um yeah, a bunch of stuff
I
like
don't think there's been a time where I didn't know about E3.
yeah.
There was like pockets in time where I was like, I don't really care about games that much. It's
Hmm.
like I would say the 360 generation, I was kind of
Yep.
out of it for the most part. I still had a Wii and I played Smash Brothers,
Hmm.
but I wouldn't call
You played
myself.
Smash Brothers? You
I
gotta
know,
be
I
kidding me.
know, I know. But that was pretty much it. Like I had the
Yep.
Wii and I just played Smash Brothers. It was kind of like how, like there's gamers or not
Right.
gamers in that way of like you're not a
Hmm.
real gamer, but like people that play games but not
Hmm.
really. Like
Like
they have
they play
their
Call of Duty and
game,
Madden,
right?
and
They
that's like
have their game and that's it, but they're not
hmm.
like invested in any way.
Yep.
Even then, like I still knew about E3 and I still like watched it, but I
Yep.
just wasn't like spending hundreds of hours on a game. That wasn't
Yep.
Smash Brothers.
Right. Yep.
um
No, yeah, I was 100% out of the loop.
How dare
completely.
you? How dare you?
So
How dare you?
yeah, so
And here's
needless to
another
say,
thing. I mean, this is a conversation. This is a tangent, but you guys
yeah,
earned it because we didn't have podcasts last week.
that's right.
But the Wii U, I felt like I was so on the other side of that in terms of like I got it, and I was like
Mm,
thinking of like, oh, they could do this, and they could do that, and they could do this with
yep.
that. And they just never really got to that point where it's like when they even started teasing the whole thing of like, we'll
Hmm.
support 2 gamepads. I was like, yo, that could be so dope, But they just never really got to that point where it was asymmetrical, but like from 3 perspectives rather than just 2. Like
Right.
there's a lot of game design stuff that they could have did with that. And even like the games where it's like when they announced that Watch Dogs was coming to Wii U,
Hmm.
like so many developers kind of like flaked on that whole concept because like
Yeah.
Watch Dogs could have been the dopest version on Wii U, but
Hmm.
they just kind of were like, now instead of doing like hacking on the tablet, you just press a button like the other consoles, and it's like that's such a waste of
Yeah.
potential. But yeah,
I think that's the thing. I mean, like using tools to their full potential is is a big thing. So I mean, even within the Mario Maker stuff, like that's part of what gets me especially excited about it. Like I was pretty excited. I mean, I was excited about it before the direct, but after watching it, like seeing new things, and I'm like so excited to get it day one too, because in my mind, like there's ideas that I have for levels that I want to create before somebody else creates them. Like that's such a thing where I'm like, if I don't do it first, if I don't buy this
yeah,
game immediately, then Jimmy Bob's gonna buy the game
give
first.
me
He's
Bob,
gonna
Bob.
make the level, and then I'm gonna be really sad because like, I don't. It's dumb because I could still make the level, but if somebody
Yeah,
else already used the concept, I don't know, something about that feels a little less,
you
you
want the
know.
clout, you
Yeah,
want all the likes
exactly.
and the
Come on,
the years.
I want everybody to know
Just boo the levels when you see them. You're like, I
all
saw that
the.
at first.
Yeah, exactly.
Boo.
Oh man, yeah. I've just been watching like pretty much any YouTuber video that comes up, especially within this Mario Maker videos, people that I already watched, like because they're the most excited about it, or like you know they they
What
see
you
all
trying
the
to say?
potential.
We're not excited about it?
Yeah, not even a little bit.
You're
Look
trying to
how
say
unexcited you
that
are about
me
it.
and Bob aren't excited? I'm
Not
see
even a bit.
the thing about my excitement for this game is like I feel like I just want to take a back seat, where it's like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see
yeah.
how excited Bob is, and I'm like, I don't even want to claim that I like this game,
Right.
not like in a way of like I don't like that, but like I just
Hmm.
want that to be his
That's his
thing.
thing. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
No, I totally get that. I've got
so
that with there's some things with just like me and my wife or whatever where like I like doing this stuff or whatever, and there's some stuff where it's like I like doing that too, but she likes doing that, and like I'm gonna let her have that. Like
yeah,
that's I
right.
can't think of any kind of example, but it's something. There's some stuff. Um
It's just like
yeah.
it's like nah, I'm just like kind of how he is with Pokemon with me, where it's like he likes Pokemon, but
Yeah.
like I'm the Pokemon guy.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah,
like for
exactly.
him to be like, that's why every time we do a Mario Maker video, I always make it a point to be like, all right, we got to involve Bob in some way.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, anything I mean anything specific from the Mario Maker 2 Direct stick out to you that you want to
Honestly,
talk about or whatever?
it's a thing after this, so maybe
Uh-huh.
you should go off on the things that really interested you. Because Mario
Nice.
Maker, again, like I just
Yeah.
resigned myself to being like, it's one of those games that's kind of like, I don't know, like Animal Crossing, where it's
Mm,
like, I want to see it and I want the baseline of like, this is what the game looks like and this is what it's about and this is what's new. But I don't
yep.
need to know that much. I'm
Right.
just in and I don't really care about all the minutia. Just like,
Mhm.
give me the game.
Yep.
So all that stuff, I didn't do no deep dives. I didn't watch the direct again. I didn't do any of that.
Yep.
I went deeper into something else
Yeah.
that we'll talk about after.
Yeah.
So you talk about the Mario Maker thing,
Yeah.
and I'll
So I
keep.
mean, I think like as far as there's a bunch of new tools that are cool.
Mhm.
So I mean that's fun. I'm not going to go into those because like everybody
Why
knows what those
not?
are. Well, partly because if I say what my ideas for them are, other people are going to use them. So like
Oh
no, but
yeah.
like even just stuff with like I was like slopes isn't really that big of a deal, and like thinking about it more, I was like no, like there's so many ideas of things that without slopes is just like you kind of get the concept, but it's not really there. And then as soon as you implement slopes, it's like, oh, that's the thing. Honestly, most of the levels I'll make are going to be something along the lines of like uh, you'll see a level where it's like, oh, it's Pac-Man, but in Mario Maker or something like that.
Mhm.
So most of the levels that I would make, I think, would be thematic like that, where it's just fun to use the tools that I'm given to make something else that I care about or whatever. So yeah, that's just fun. I was talking to my friend Mitch about it when we were coming up with ideas, and that's like a fun thing that we like to do with some things too, is all that kind of stuff. So all that to say, the tool set itself, there's a lot of neat things that are implemented, but they're not really worth going into for like conversation things.
I hear you.
But
Mhm.
but I think like, okay, so the multiplayer stuff is neat. I'm saying
I'm
all the
disappointed.
topics.
I'm disappointed because I wanted to be able to create levels online, but you can't do that. That's just local. So I'm kind of
Yeah,
bummed out by that because it's like,
unless maybe they just haven't talked about it, but
but they
seems
have
like
all the online stuff on there. Like that would be a very strange like thing for them to like
yeah,
uh put in a different section of their
yeah,
UI if it's like online mode and then
right.
everything's there except for the making part of it, online maker mode, like that'd be
Yeah,
very weird. Um,
yeah,
but like I feel like you don't really need that locally. Like you could do that locally anyway.
yep,
I could just hand
absolutely.
you the switch and be like, hey, here, make you add your part to this.
Hmm.
So like
Yeah, I was definitely surprised by that too, that they didn't have the online making stuff. I mean, it's possible. If nothing else, it would be at least cool if they still did, like, I can share my work in progress with you for you to like either play test or work on, make some
yeah.
changes, send it back to me. Like that would be really cool, even if we can't simultaneously do it, something along those lines.
Mhm.
So maybe that's still a function that is kind of under the radar enough that they just haven't bothered to talk about it. But it definitely, yeah, it seems like the active making levels together isn't in there. And you're right, like it seems like you can only use the sideways, the like one Joy-Con each when
Mhm.
you make levels together, and it's only on the same screen. So it's like, is that really worth it? Like you're saving a
Yeah.
bit of time because like you're doing that over there and I'm doing that over there, but like that's not that great.
Yeah.
I could just hand you the controller and you do it. So
It's
that's the thing.
such a weird thing.
Yeah.
But
But
I mean, I'm happy it's there nonetheless. I didn't
yeah,
expect them to do anything online. So like
yeah,
when they started talking about that, I was like, oh, okay, cool. We got because this is the first Mario game with online platforming,
yeah,
which is so
yeah.
weird. Because
And
like,
it
why didn't they just always do that? Like, why wasn't New Super like if New Super Mario Bros. U was online multiplayer,
yeah,
so much of the conversation around that game and like like the YouTubers being like, is this game really worth getting? Like
uh-huh.
I was about to give a specific person, but I'm not going to do that because this isn't a drama channel. But yeah, it's like those videos of people being like, is this game worth buying again? If they would have
Yeah,
just added that one simple thing, everybody would have been like, yeah, get this game because you can play
yeah,
online, blah blah. But
yeah.
they didn't even
I
add the
could definitely
online.
see, although on the other hand, in the where it's definitely more beneficial in the well, obviously it's more beneficial in Mario Maker 2 than it would have been in New Super Mario Bros. 2. I mean, still like it would have been an extra feature to add that they should have done. But at the same time, it's like, well, I guess once you've played through all those levels with other people online, it's like, well, that's the end of it. Whereas at least in Mario Maker, there's like infinite stuff to play,
Right.
you know, theoretically. So that's good. But yeah, still, I agree. But it is cool that it's there in the first place. And I am curious what the implementation of some of that stuff's going to be, as far as like how. If there's any like when you have to play the level to be able to beat it so that you can upload it, if there's going to be a way to do that so that you can do it multiplayer, so it seems like no matter what you need to be able to beat it as one player.
Yeah.
um so
I saw a lot of
whatever.
people talking about that. Like somebody was like, we could finally show Nintendo, which is such a weird thing. We could finally show Nintendo how to design multiplayer levels. And it's like,
Hmm.
I don't think you're going to teach them anything. I think they have it
Yeah,
figured out. It's just that they don't want their games to be partitioned in that way, where it's like
right.
you need four people
Yeah,
to play through this level because that would just be a bad decision.
yeah. Oh,
It's
totally,
like,
because that's, I mean, like a lot of the time that I'm playing New Super Mario Bros with Ashley, we're like kind of carrying each other to, I mean, we get in each other's way all the time, so like that's the
yeah,
thing where it's like, she toadstools me or something, so that, or I do her or something like that. But then it's, if every level had to be completed together, I just don't think it would happen.
Yeah, no.
Like, because one of us
Granted,
would be holding the other back at some point.
they did change the formula a little bit where you don't like clash into each other, it looks like. Like you phase through each other when you run. It's like
Interesting.
the
I'll have to
running.
watch that. I felt like I saw, at least in because there's that little part at the beginning where they're in a box or whatever,
Mhm.
or maybe it's possible too that because there's co-op and
Oh
some
yeah,
versus
true.
levels. So maybe it's like for versus you do, but co-op you don't,
Mhm.
or I don't know. I'll have to watch it again because I haven't noticed that specifically.
Yeah. I watched it once
Yeah.
and then Bob was going through like because we streamed it.
Yeah.
He was going through like certain things and being like, "Oh, that's interesting," and I was
Yep.
like, "So."
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very fun. So the other thing I'm just very curious about, and also curious what your thoughts on it. There's the extra course styles bit that everybody's
Yeah.
pointing out. What's that
Everybody
going to be?
like I don't know. So many people like like they're filling it in. Like it's so like weird, because like people are like the first person that did it thought they were a genius.
Yeah,
Where it's like,
right.
oh, I'm so smart. I put the like Mario 2 art style on that empty space. I'm a
Yeah,
Photoshop expert, This is a leak.
yeah. No,
It's like
man, the fact that I noticed it watching the direct and was like, "Wait, extra game styles? What's that?" I was like, "Okay, everybody's going to have noticed this. Like,
yeah.
it's not that big of a deal to find it, but it is a big deal that it's there. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Because I
very
mean, it's
exciting.
very obvious that they intend to use that for more. Because it's like not
Absolutely.
only is the empty space there, but they said extra game styles. They don't even need to do that. They could have
Yeah,
just put 3D world with everything else.
yeah,
So they're gonna put other stuff. My
yeah.
only question is, are they going to do DLC? Because that's going to make people angry.
Yeah, I think I would be surprised if they didn't do. I think they will do like Splatoon 2, kind of just periodic updates or whatever. But I mean, it is possible that would be a pretty big pack if they added. I don't know, like yeah, Super Mario Bros. 2, um, or even like Galaxy style or something like that. So somebody made a good point. I was Steve Gaming, who does a lot of Mario Maker and Mario stuff, pointed out that most of the time with marketing type things, you'll want to ramp up marketing as you're going,
Mhm.
which makes sense. And Super Mario Bros. 2 probably is less hype than 3D World is, really. Like, I mean, at this point, it would be more because it's something we don't know about versus something that is. But like, if we thought about it in order, like Mario Bros. 2, most people would be like, oh, cool. I mean, like people who really care about Mario would be excited, but then a lot of just more casual fans would be like, all right, cool, whatever. So that said, like something more different than Super Mario Bros. 2 would be more exciting, so maybe makes more sense. But I could also see them doing Mario Bros. 2. People would be happy about that regardless. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think 3D world, like if they did Galaxy, that'd be kind of weird. Even though,
Yeah.
like, honestly, I think 3D world is kind of weird.
Yeah. Right.
Because like aesthetically, it does not look. I know everybody's saying it. Everybody's like, "Oh, this looks so much better than the new Super Mario." It does not
Mhm.
look different because everybody assumed that 3D world was
Mhm.
new Super Mario Bros. Until they went back and saw that it said 3D
Right.
world in the top left corner or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's like it's not like as different as even like Mario 1 is from Mario 3, you
Oh yeah,
know?
yeah, for sure.
Like they're very similar in
Yep.
aesthetic. The only thing that's really different is that it has like kinda 2.5D elements.
And I mean, I think the color scheme and the art direction is more like pleasing or whatever in general, as opposed to New Super Mario Bros. U, which is a little bit, I don't know, just by the book, I
Yeah.
guess. I
Yeah.
don't know. So, but that said, I mean, so like it looks better aesthetically, but it's not like you're right. It's not like a
It's
huge
like
difference.
it's not like immediately apparent to you that even that is the case, you
Yeah,
know? Like you have to like really stop and look at it to be like, "Oh, this like how they did this texture like shows that it's a little less, like
yeah,
generic and by the books." But
hmm
at first glance they look like the same game,
yeah.
you know?
It does look like at least they'll be doing the styles more different. Like so, between the four of them that are the same, the core four, as somebody coined it, the like the styles for all of them are look more samey, so like the ground theme one looks like the ground theme one in all of them, but just like different graphics or whatever. Whereas the ground theme one in New Super Mario or in in 3D World looks more separate, but it's still like it's the ground theme or like the sky theme, but they just are a little bit more unique in and of themselves. So that's at least nice that even though that it'll at least be just feel a little bit different. But yeah, in any case, that was the other main thing. So I think the main like big topic takeaway things are the multiplayer stuff and the extra game styles.
Yeah.
And then lots of just new little features that I have little ideas for how to make them in a level. So that might suck when I'm done with them. I don't know, but they'll be fun in the meantime. And that is all.
Just hopefully they're not more fun as ideas than they are in practice, because that'd be disappointing.
That would be very disappointing.
But you can tweak it. That's the beautiful thing about Mario Maker.
That
Everybody
is.
can be like, this sucks. And then you can be like, what about it sucks? And then they won't know how to tell you, but you can figure it out.
Well, you know what else kind of sucked, but then is going to suck a little bit less, according to some people? Nintendo Switch Online, some people thought kind of sucked, specifically special offers. There wasn't really any of them, but now they've got some more.
Yes.
Which is game vouchers.
Well,
which they
even
also
before that, they have the bundle, which is weird.
Yes,
I wanted to ask you about this too.
Yeah.
So they have in other territories, they have the stylus bundle.
Yeah. What's up with that?
That's not here. And like, I don't care about the stylus. I'm not going to use that. But at the same time, like I went through this like these phases of like when they announced it, I was like, oh, that'd be cool. But then I thought about it. I was like, if they do that, I might not get that. You know, like unless I buy it.
Right.
But like they don't always send, like usually they'll send me codes. Sometimes there'll be special cases like Box Boy where it's like they send me a code and then they send me that stuff.
Yeah.
We're on camera now, so I can do stuff.
Oh yeah, if anybody's listening on audio but you wanted to be watching on video on YouTube, it's on video where you can see our little faces.
Yes, and you can see my Box Boy. Inbox girl.
Oh, they're taped together or something.
No, not. She has this and this, you know.
Cute. What a bunch of friends.
Yeah, this. Sometimes they send me that stuff. So maybe they'll send me like a piece of paper. I don't remember which one was where, but like
perfect.
Continuity errors. It was the other way around.
It was, but that's all right.
Well, who cares? Somebody in the comments, maybe you care.
It was so aesthetically pleasing before.
I'll change it, but not right now. But yeah, sometimes they'll send me like a code printed on paper with the embargo stuff and like all that stuff, and then also this physical thing of like, tweet this out. This is neat, you know. So maybe, hopefully, if they do the bundle, or maybe they won't do the bundle, and they'll still send me the stylus, so I can be cool and you guys can't. That'd be messed up.
I mean, it's surprising that they haven't announced it at all here. Like, if they're going to do it at all, you'd think they would have announced it by now. So, which makes me think like, but they could do whatever they want. I mean, they've still got over a month and 11 days from recording.
What scares me? Maybe it's a retailer exclusive thing.
Yeah, probably so. Like a GameStop thing or Target thing or something. I bet you're right. That happens. That seems to happen more in the US than it does anywhere else. Mostly just because we have, I think, more options than a lot of other places do for like places that would do that. Whereas other places, it's like you've only got one place. You know, I'm pretty sure in the UK, their game store is just called Game. I could be wrong about that.
And then I think their game stores are like, somebody in the comments correct me, but they have like basically like they're in supermarkets. Like they can You're supposed to know this.
Yeah,
Europe.
Accurate. But I mean I think otherwise it's like in the at least where I was, we had equivalent to like Walmart, so there would be stuff in there obviously because Walmart's Walmart. But then otherwise there would be like electronic stores that have all the like Best Buy kind of situation. Right. But yeah, at that point I still didn't really pay attention to, or maybe they didn't do exclusive stuff in the same way. I wouldn't really know. But that definitely seems like a US thing for the most part. Just it's popular here. So I guess we'll find out. But that'd be neat if there were a stylus.
Wow. Do you care about the stylus? Do you want it?
I mean, it'd be fun. I'd get it just because why not?
Would you?
I don't know.
Because I feel like if I get the stylus, depending on if I can find a cool way to display it, it's going to be back there. I'm never going to actually use it. But like, it'd be cool, you know. like in that way. But I'm not like people are like, I don't know how Mario Maker will work without the stylus, and it's like,
It'll work fine. You use your phone without a stylus, don't
yeah,
you?
exactly. This is the iPhone all over again, where everybody's
Yeah.
like, I don't know if it'll work without a stylus or a physical keyboard, you know? And
Uh-huh.
then,
Oh
like,
man.
how many phones do you like? Do you use a stylus or a physical
Hmm.
keyboard on your phone now in 2019?
Yep.
Like,
I will say, I mean, I think the Switch screen is better than there's some screens that I really don't like pressing with my I think it's what are the difference between capacitive touch
resistive
and
and yeah, resist.
resistive screens. I really don't like touching
Yeah,
like when I worked at Burger King or whatever back in college, I had to touch the touch screen for things and like something about it like my fingers would actually hurt by the end of the day sometimes for some weird reason because like I don't know. Something about it was just weird where like I just didn't like touching it. Whereas I mean, obviously, touch my phone screen all the time. So and the Switch screen is
it's because
more like a
it's
phone
like
screen.
you can't just touch it. You had to be
Yeah,
like real deliberate
yeah, and it
with
just I feel like it
because
kind of it just feels weird and it hurts my
yeah,
bones.
because you got to make contact. Like that's how the
Yep.
screen works. Like you got to make contact with the screen under the screen.
Yeah. Right. So,
Um,
but the main point of what we were talking about with the so Mario Maker can come with online.
right,
That's a thing.
and that's you get $10 off of
Yep.
online essentially.
Yep.
It's what 69.99.
Yep.
Nice.
It stacks,
But,
so that's a thing. Although I
yeah,
need to get I have Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime or
yeah,
whatever. I need to
same.
get that because that stacks as well.
Yes.
So, whatever.
So and that's another thing. Like the whole switch on. I'm trying to think if there's anything that like any news stories that kind of segue into that because I don't know if I want to talk about this or not, but I don't think so.
Hmm.
The whole my video. That's why I was thinking about that. Where I was going to bring that
Uh
up.
huh.
My video for next week or this week
Yeah.
or
Yeah. The
Tuesday.
online games.
Yes, that one. Where it's basically like everybody's like, I don't know if I want to buy it online, but they're giving it away.
Yeah.
Like not only the fact that it's $20, but like now you can get it if you pay $10 extra for Mario
Right.
Maker or the Twitch Prime thing where you
Hmm.
get another year. Like not only did I get the year from Nintendo,
Hmm.
hashtag free product. But also I got the Twitch Prime year, so I don't even
Yep.
like I'm not even going to think about Switch Online for two
Yeah.
years.
I think
Like
they just want to get you accustomed to it and that it feels like, oh yeah, that's just part of the experience, which with now having more because we just pretty much had, Smash and Splatoon 2. And I guess Mario Kart for a lot of people. So those three and Tetris 99, that was like if you wanted online for actually playing a game that's not, the NES games and all that kind of stuff, those were your games to get. But if you weren't into any of those, then we're just getting more and more of them now.
right. And Mario Maker, I feel like is the first one where it's kind of forcing you,
Yeah,
like
right.
because Smash Brothers, you don't. The core of that game for a lot of people is not
Yeah,
the competitive aspect of it. Like it's
right.
just playing casually with your friends or family or whatever. But
Hmm.
Mario Maker, like if you can't download courses. Like what are you doing? You're just gonna play
Yeah,
the story mode and that's it, Like
yep,
it's just a 2D Mario game at that point.
yep. I mean, and then you can make levels, and they'll just sit there for
Yeah,
you to play, which is like that's
weird.
not really the fun of
Yeah,
it. So, yeah, no, I'm with you there. I agree. But yeah, did the any thoughts on the game vouchers too?
the
While we're
game
still on this
vouchers is the
stuff.
thing that like I went on a deep dive for,
Yeah.
because I was like, wait, what? And literally everyone that I'm like, this, like when I tweeted or whatever, like the first person that
Yep.
replied to it was basically like, why do you care? Like you give games for free, and it's like, yeah, but like the reason why I get games for free is to be able to tell you people whether or not they're worth buying.
Yeah. Now they're a
So
little more worth buying.
exactly. And not even that, but like this specifically, like the game vouchers thing is like how interesting is that for you guys? Like, is that worth
Right.
investing in? And like how big of a deal and like literal deal, not like
Yeah.
or I guess both are literal, but not
Right.
like how big this is a big deal, but like
Yeah.
how much money are you actually able to
Hmm.
save if you use this the right way? Because like there's a lot of questions that were brought up with that where it's like,
Hmm.
how does this work with gold coins? Like you get 500 gold coins for getting a game voucher, but do you then also get gold coins when you use that game voucher?
Right.
And the
That's
answer
a
to that is
very good
no.
question.
The
Oh,
answer is
okay.
no. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so I
um,
mean, in that case, you're getting 100 fewer gold coins than you would if you bought them both full price, because you would get 300 for each game
right. Well,
theoretically.
it depends on what the game is
That's yes, very true.
because some
They also
games
have
you
some
get
$50
more.
games there, which is like That's so dumb. Why do
Like,
they have
I
$50
see,
games on there?
it's just like, yeah, it's I don't know. I don't
But I mean, I
know.
get it. Like they're like, oh well, if you already got it and you wanted to get Smash, but you also wanted 1-2 Switch for some weird reason, then like, you can also get 1-2 Switch.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not really saving you a lot of money on that one. But whatever,
And
have
the
fun.
other thing is like, can I buy that for someone else? Like the immediate thing that came to my mind is like, could I buy one of those and then give them away? You
Yeah.
know, the answer to
Mm,
that is apparently also no. you know,
interesting.
so it's like you need Switch Online. I think if you have a family plan, each person could get game vouchers through that. I don't
Okay. Yep.
know if the limit, because it does have a limit of 8 vouchers per person, but I don't know if that 8
Oh,
is then also applied to your family plan. So, like,
gotcha.
since you can have 8 people in your family plan, could you then get the, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
like, quick math
64
64,
or
yeah,
whatever.
quick
Yeah.
64 things or whatever,
Yeah.
or vouchers? Like,
Yep.
the only thing that they're kind of and clear as much as you can be in that like quick disclaimer thing of like this
Hmm.
ends at this point of sale and blah blah. The only thing that they say is the gold coins, where it's like the gold coins end at this. Like you don't get additional gold coins. They're pretty clear about that in the like little disclaimer thing. And then the other thing that's
Hmm.
interesting is like they're gonna stop selling these, or they are saying
Yeah.
that they will
Right.
on July 31st.
Yeah.
Like, does that mean that we're gonna like they're just gonna be done with that? Or are we
Hmm.
gonna get a revised, like new type of deal?
Hmm.
Like,
I'm very curious about that. Yeah, because that seems weird. I guess what it is maybe is they're trying to expedite people getting like stocking up on them early and then getting they also probably should announce. I mean, because somewhere I feel like it said that like Fire Emblem and some of the other games
yeah,
that are
all
announced.
the games that are you wanna run down all the games?
I mean, so like I found an actual list of pretty much Mario Maker 2 and then a bunch of already out games, but I
Yeah.
didn't find one that specifically
So
said future games.
on the eShop page, they have all the games. All the future games
Oh,
right
gotcha.
now are
Hmm.
Astro Chain,
Yep.
Fire Emblem,
Hmm.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance,
Yep. I guess because those are the only ones. Those
and
have
then
dates.
also Mario Maker,
Right,
obviously.
yeah. So I mean, those ones have dates, so they're just going off of I'm get I mean, obviously, once the other first party titles have dates, then those will also
And it's not even just
be
first party.
announced. Yeah, that's true. Because
Like The
oh,
World
I
Ends With
guess it's just
You.
first party published because I think World Ends With You is published by Nintendo, even though it's a Square Enix title.
Um,
Maybe not.
Hold on, let me see.
I
Because
could be very
I
wrong.
think yeah, I think you're right on that.
Kind of like
Yeah.
Octopath,
Yeah,
I'd guess.
right. But apparently Octopath isn't published by Nintendo in all regions.
Oh,
And I don't
interesting.
think Dragon Quest Builders is either.
Oh. Oh, is that one of the ones on the list as well?
Yes.
Interesting.
And
Huh. So yeah,
I think Go Vacation's published by
I
them.
think that is, yeah. What company is that? No, it's not Konami. What
It's like
company makes that? Something weird.
what I'm going to Game Info right
It might be
now.
Bandai
Yeah,
Namco.
like Bandai Namco or
Yeah.
Ubisoft, one of those two.
Yeah, something like that. Interesting.
Publisher Nintendo, developer Bandai Namco. Yeah,
Hey, look at that. We did it. What a bunch of professionals.
it's
Um, so all that said, yeah, it seems like I if they're not doing something else like this after July 31st, I guess maybe it's just like this is their testing window and then they'll see about doing, but that is weird. I mean, it makes sense for them to say an end date. So it gives you some, kind of gives an expedited
I
feeling where like,
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So, which I mean, as long as you know two games that you're going to get no matter what, yeah, might as well. Like there's no
Yeah.
reason to not, but unless you're just, strapped for cash right now compared to you'll have
Like
$60 now and
I
not later.
know before, I had the whole Nintendo thing going on.
Hmm.
I just would stockpile on like pre-orders from Amazon and being like, I'm
Hmm.
just going to pre-order all of the things. Like I know that I'm going to get this like I don't know like $20 discount or whatever on the
Right.
game. So like if this was me, I
Yep.
would just buy all 8 games all at once, or all 8 vouchers all at once, and then call it a day, which is like what, like $400.
Yeah.
But like at
Right.
the end of the day, like I'm saving however much dollars on the games in the long run. So
Yep.
whatever. I'm going to buy them anyway, so I might as
Right.
well buy them and save on them.
Yep. That's I feel that way too. About the ones that I just know I'm gonna get. Like there's some games that I'm like Astral Chain, for example, is one that I'm like, maybe interested in that, but I'm not really sure. So I'm just not gonna budget with that one specifically in mind. But then I know for sure I'm gonna get Pokemon, for sure I'm gonna get Mario Maker, and then a whole bunch of other ones that I'm gonna be buying a lot of games the rest of this year. Yeah. So, or maybe I'll try to save a couple for letting people get them for me for Christmas to make money easier, and also make Christmas presents easy for them. So, yeah, the game voucher thing is really interesting. Curious how that kind of progresses into the future, but I guess we'll find out as time goes on. We will also find out a little bit more about Nintendo's E3 when it happens. But in the meantime, they gave us kind of the rundown of what's going to be going on schedule wise for all of that. And it's pretty normal.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's kind of good
Yeah,
that we didn't talk about this last week because they added to this with
that's true.
the Super Mario Maker tournament.
Yes, that is a very good point. So yeah, so pretty much there's going to be a Super Mario Maker tournament, a Splatoon 2 tournament, and a Super Smash Brothers tournament, all of which start with S's, which is just a thing that I realized. Well, two of them it's Super, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, still Smash.
that's true. And so those will be before the presentation or before the direct.
Before E3 technically even starts.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's on June 8th.
Yep. I guess so. Yeah, I'm not looking at the thing actually right now. Is it June 8th, 9th, and 10th that those are each happening?
No.
Or the whole thing's all June 8th?
June
Oh.
8th at 11 a.m. Pacific time, Splatoon. Wait, I don't have Mario Maker in front of me. I think Nintendo emailed me this. So let's pull up the Nintendo email because that has
Nice.
everything all nice and packaged. Which, speaking of that, they emailed me and was like, "Yo, you want to go to E3?" And I'm like, because it's just too late, like
Yeah.
like budgeting and all that, and getting the
Yeah.
flight and like lodging and all that stuff, and I don't want to spend all that money,
No, I feel you.
especially since it's easier. Like I would normally do it if like I planned way ahead of time, like with PAX. I would normally do it, but just last minute of like where I was kind of iffy on whether or not I wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's still like the main thing in my mind is that it's easier to cover E3 when you're home than it is
Yeah.
from E3.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I was just gonna go like to hang out, like
Yeah.
to hang out with like Bob and Dan, and now we're finding out that just Jess, she's
Mm-hmm.
going to E3, so like that would have been cool,
Mm-hmm.
but like
Yeah.
maybe next year.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah.
they don't have the Mario Maker tournament on here. Nintendo, get it together.
Are they even a real company? Come
I
on.
know, right?
But yeah, in any case, they'll have those three things happening, and then they'll have their direct on the 11th, on the Tuesday, like they always do, at 11 a.m. I think also like they always do, seems like, and then Treehouse for 3 days after that.
Yes.
I am excited. I was just tweeting out today and thinking. I was talking to Mitch because we typically watch together, and I was like, "All right," because his lunch break is he works in support, so his lunch break is like a set time, and it's at 1. And I'm like, "It's at 11. I'm not waiting until 1 to watch it because something will get spoiled. It always
Okay,
does."
I found it.
You found it. Good job.
The event will open up the festivities at the theater at the Ace Hotel in Los Angeles starting at 11 a.m. Pacific time and will be followed by Splatoon 2. So this is at 11 a.m. and then Splatoon 2 is whenever that's done, and then Smash Brothers is whenever that's done.
Nice.
Pretty much, basically.
Cool.
The question though
Good
is
question.
how are we handling E3?
That is a very good question.
Because last year, what we did was I did a video pretty much every day of that week where it
Nice.
would just be like a short thing of like, okay, like this is what they announced and like this is what was interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like usually we go like 10, 12, 14 to 10 to 14 minutes for our videos.
Mm-hmm.
Those videos were like between like 6 and 8 minutes.
Gotcha.
And they were more like stream of consciousness, like sort of like still scripted, but like
Mhm.
more direct about this one specific thing about
Yep.
the games. Are we going to do
That's a good
that?
question. We'll have to talk about that and figure it out because I don't know. I think so. I know I'm just gonna take off Tuesday of work, so I'll be not working that day because
Yeah.
I wish I knew what treehouse things are happening what day, which I mean, you never know. And
Yeah, like
they
they don't
tend to
really.
do a little bit of all of them. Like, say they've got 7 games that they're doing in the treehouse, and like 4 of them are like the main ones they're doing. It seems like most of the time they'll do those 4 games or something all of the days,
Playing
and then
Smash
like,
Brothers 6 times per
yes.
day.
Yeah, pretty much. And then to like sprinkle in some other things in there. So,
Yeah.
and there's some games that are just generally more fun for, I think, to watch in, like, honestly, like, love Smash, but
How
I
dare
didn't think
you?
it was the
How
most
dare you? How
interesting
dare you?
treehouse one. Yeah. Um, and just because it's like, I mean, it showed new mechanics and new characters and stuff, but it's kind of just watching
They
Smash
didn't
at
use
the same.
Pokemon Trainer enough for my liking, you
Here you
know?
go. I
They
mean, come
used
on.
the Inkling, they used Inkling, and that was
Yep.
cool. But like, come on, man. Give us
Yeah,
in the Pokemon Trainer.
exactly.
It's been like 12 years or
It
whatever.
has. That's a good point because he's kind of new again. Yeah. So that's. But then games like I loved watching the Xenoblade Treehouse stuff because it just like it all felt new to watch that. Whereas Smash stuff is like it's a
How dare
known
you?
quantity
How
for the
dare you?
most part
How dare
with a bit
you?
of additions. And then Mario Odyssey also watched tons of that
Yeah.
Treehouse stuff. So I'm excited about it. Yeah,
So
we'll have to figure out how we're going to cover that. And we're not talking like what's the word I'm looking for? Predictions. We're not taking
yeah,
predictions just yet or anything like that, but we will be at some point.
that'll probably be like
We're
the week
gonna do it.
or the week before the week of
Yep.
E3.
Yeah. So it's definitely it's on everybody's minds starting now though. Like I am really glad though so far, and maybe it hadn't started this early last year, but last year it just felt like there were so many leaks and rumors and stuff, and I'm glad right now it doesn't feel like there's like any of that yet.
Mhm.
That'll probably change, but like I would really like to have as
Sometimes,
little of that as
like I
possible.
would say, last year they didn't have like the leaks weren't for Nintendo anyway. Like the leaks weren't that crazy.
Mhm.
And that was because we didn't really get that much. Like,
Yeah.
and that's kind of like not what I'm scared of because like we have a lot that we don't know about.
Mhm.
Um, but like we don't have anything that we know about beyond that. Like we don't know if
Right.
they're going to announce anything else.
Yep.
So
That's a
like,
very good question. Yeah, because I mean, so I like they could easily spend the whole direct talking about maybe 1 or 2 third parties, and then spend all of it on Mario, Pokemon, Animal Crossing, Link's Awakening, Luigi's
mhm,
Mansion, uh,
Marvel's
Fire
Ultimate
Emblem. Like,
Alliance.
yeah, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Astral Chains, like all those games are games that there's a lot of stuff we don't know about. Some of them we know a lot less about than others. Like we know nothing about Animal Crossing. We know practically nothing about Luigi's Mansion besides that it's Luigi's Mansion.
I
Um,
mean, we even Pokemon we know little to nothing.
oh yeah, exactly. So like a lot of those they could very well spend, do a kind of deep dive or whatever into each of those. And
They could spend, and this isn't going to happen, but they could theoretically spend 15 minutes on all of those games,
yeah, right.
and still have a direct that's longer than everything they've ever done.
Yep. No,
Well,
exactly.
who knows?
So I mean, and
Like Town. There's so many games.
oh
There's so
yeah,
many games that we
yeah.
know nothing about.
There truly are. So, I mean, probably they just spend the whole time on Untitled Goose Game, though. Probably,
Yes,
is
of
what I'm
course.
thinking.
It would be a huge disappointment if they didn't.
Yeah, but it's like it seems unrealistic that they'd go over any Metroid Prime 4 unless they just were like, we just need to have a cinematic trailer just to keep any amount of hype going.
So, are we going to see Metroid Prime trilogy? Let's not talk about it. We're
Yeah,
getting too much into the prediction thing. Let's not do it. We're not doing it. We're not doing
Yeah,
it.
man alive. So I mean, all that stuff. We'll talk more about all that later, but it's interesting. But speaking of Metroid, this next thing, this is from 2 weeks ago, or would have been on last week's one, but Metroid, Castlevania, and some other cartoons had some art pieces or whatever that were leaked for. Well, I'll say that sentence better. In the same way that we had the Zelda TV show back in the 90s or
Mhm.
80s or whatever, and the Mario TV show back in the 80s or 90s, they also were thinking about doing Metroid, Castlevania, and 2 other ones. What are these other ones? Um, no, that's Metroid again. Double Dragon and something else that I didn't recognize at all.
California
California
game.
Games. What a time. So yeah, those are shows that almost happened. The Metroid one is really
Why
weird.
Samus a dude?
why is Samus a dude? I mean, all I can think, either that's not Samus and it's like just a different character and story that's another, you know, Samus kind of person, but just isn't. Or they were like, you know what? Nobody cared about the fact that it was a girl in that first game, so we'll just make it a dude anyway.
Wait, let's see. Let's see. I want to see. I want to test something.
Do it. I
We're
believe in you.
we're doing it live, people. Wait, where is this at? I want to see if I can share my screen. Yes, there we go. Okay, can you see my screen?
Whoa! Yeah, I can see your screen.
We're looking at it. We're doing it
Hey,
live.
look at that! What a
Look
professional.
look at this.
Yep.
What are my tabs?
So there's Metroid.
There's the art. There it is.
Yep.
Metroid's a dude. Look at this. That's nonsense. I don't even know if you can see me zoom into there.
Yeah, I could.
Oh, okay.
So this is
I
on
hate how
Nintendo.
this is like. Here's the California.
Yeah. I don't even know really much about California games. Like it seemed like my understanding of it seemed like a kind of mini games esque sort of thing. Maybe not. Double Dragon.
Just look
Yeah.
at it. Just look at it.
That one could have been fairly cool.
All right, Nintendo, everything. Your site. You gotta rework this because I don't like the fact that I click the next and then I gotta scroll all the way down. That's some nonsense.
There you go. That's all of them. Also, that Castlevania one just like not at all what I thought a Castlevania show would look like. I mean, needless to say, we have an actual Castlevania show now, and it's very different. But yeah, so I don't know. Curious. I mean, those are interesting. I wonder, do we think, just out of curiosity, that we will ever see any Nintendo shows again? This isn't even.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you
Definitely.
think is most likely to that we see first in that case?
I don't know. It depends on what they want to do, you know? Like
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that they'll do any one thing because like how big of a deal it is. Because at one point they did F-Zero, you know, they did
Yeah.
Kirby, you know,
Yeah.
Donkey Kong. And I think that like they're much more in the headspace of like we're Disney, you know, like we
Yeah.
can use this IP as way more than just video games.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see a lot more of that moving forward,
Mm-hmm.
especially after like Detective Pikachu and like all that stuff. But,
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think especially after, by the way, your video is off sync just a little bit. I don't know how to fix it.
weird.
So maybe it'll just fix itself. But nevertheless,
Was it always like that?
no, it was just after sharing the screen stuff.
Dumb. Let's see if I can mute me.
Cool.
Okay, I am muted me. Am I still off sync?
Yeah, keep talking.
Hello. I don't know if I'm on sync or not.
It's like fixing it slowly, so it's getting better.
Weird. That's
It'll-
weird. I wonder if it's going to be like that on the video, if it's
good
just
question.
a hangout situation. You know what? We're improving as we go.
We are. We're just working on things
I
because we
can't
care
do
about
anything
you
about
guys.
it though. You know,
Nope.
this
Yep,
is
we don't know how to, and it would be worse to try to fix it now than anything else. So, but yeah, I especially after they make the Mario movie, whenever that's going to be in like
2022.
that's so far away. But I mean, if they
That sounded like I was guessing, but I'm pretty sure that's what they
I
said.
think that's what they said. No, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right. Because I remembered that date. I was like, it's either 2020 or 2022, and I think 2020 is the theme park stuff.
Yeah.
That's the Japan one, right?
Yes.
And then the other ones are coming. I think actually also part of it is coming to Universal in I think Pokemon World is coming to Universal Florida in 2020 as well. Maybe not.
Oh snaps! I need to go to Florida.
I know. No, I'm serious. Like whenever it comes to Florida, because that's the one that I'm closest to. Not,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a
Tokyo
10,
would be
12
a
hour.
whole thing.
You know, it sure would.
Still debating it though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it would be great. I would love to go to Japan at some point. It'd be
Gotta
fun.
do it one of these days.
Yeah.
One of these days.
As a Nintendo channel, that's like, you know,
Yeah.
that's that's a rite of passage, I'm sure, to somebody.
Nintendo, hit us up.
Give us plane tickets.
We got cool video ideas, and we'll do it in Japan. Just let me
Right.
know.
Yep. So what a time. They're doing all sorts of things. And I could see a Mario show happening after the movie where like that, I mean, that seems to happen a lot of times too, where once they've developed character models and all that kind of stuff. They kind of pare it down. Like after, not that I know anything about it, but after they made the Boss Baby movie, there was a Boss Baby TV show.
Yeah.
Probably just because they're like, well, we've got all these art assets and like character models and 3D stuff. Where like now that it's made, it's not that hard to just
This movie
make it do
made
stuff.
$800 million. Let's make more money.
Yep. So that's a
I don't know
thing.
how much Boss Baby made.
Probably not 800 million, but maybe.
Let's put a bet on it. Bucks, 538 million.
Is that your guess or is that the real thing?
28 million. Is this domestic or worldwide?
I don't know.
Box office.
That was probably the first weekend was 28 million domestic.
Domestic is 175 million and worldwide is 500 something.
Okay.
That's way more money than I would have expected that to make.
We'll talk about Detective Pikachu a little bit later, but I am curious how much that makes when it's all said and done. But we'll talk about it later. But moving on with this stuff. So this is just the news a little bit that I thought was fun. Blizzard is very happy with Diablo's reception on Switch. I didn't even segue. I just am saying it. So here's a quote from them that we can talk about or not talk about, whatever we want, because that's what we do here. They say, we're super happy. Nintendo has been a great partner. We're a fan of that platform, a fan of Nintendo, a fan of the Nintendo IP, and a fan of Switch.
Where's Overwatch, you cowards?
Yeah,
I'm not going to play Overwatch at this point. It's not going to happen.
Honestly, I'll get into that in a second. It's a really good platform and it's really fun to play on. Different games have come about that are good experiences. Part of it is Nintendo love, plus thinking that the Diablo experience would be great on that platform. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I loved it. And then on the topic of, they were asked about possibilities on other collaborations with Nintendo, and they said, it's not ridiculous. We'd like to have, and we think of it, they phrased things weird. I read this before and I was like, you guys didn't. But we think of it as another platform. It has some unique properties that the Xbox and Sony platforms don't have. Thinking about what games make sense for that type of console is something we'll never stop doing.
Overwatch, you cowards. So I can play it for 2 months and then never again.
So, I mean, because Overwatch, honestly, I'd mentioned before a couple weeks ago that my friend was considering getting a Switch, but wasn't sure because his PS4 was kind of dying. And like, honestly, if it had Overwatch, I think that would have been the thing to sell him, because that's like all he pretty much plays right now, and his PS4 is dying. And I was like, well, here's a bunch of good things about it, but you can't play Overwatch. And he was like, So I think he's still planning on getting a Switch, but isn't. So yeah, that's just good to hear from a company like Blizzard. Again, not to say that even, they're maybe kind of shady, I guess. Or, I mean, I guess they're not, but Activision is and stuff. So who's to say what's going to happen with third parties? But hearing that from a third party that sells more, grown-up games, quote unquote, is good.
That said, Diablo, that's some nerd stuff. I'm not going to say the real thing, though.
Nice.
Not going to do it. Not here.
Not here. Also not here is the new Pokemon smartphone game that DeNA is going to make. Apparently, it's not Pokemon Rumble Rush, which came out yesterday.
I was going
to some places.
You sound upset.
No, I'm upset about in some places. It's just a weird, like, it's only on Android, I think, and definitely in Australia, but maybe only in Australia.
The Australia part makes sense. That makes sense because they usually test stuff there. That's like that was like a whole thing for Pokemon Go, where it was like, just get an Australian, change your account to Australia. You can download Pokemon Go and play it early and blah blah blah.
That's funny.
So yeah, it makes sense.
Yep. So in any case, I mean, I don't even know if I'll probably won't play Pokemon Rumble Rush, but
yeah,
it's still just odd to
interest.
I haven't played a Pokemon Rumble game before, so I don't even know much about mechanics of it or any of that.
It's
Is it at all? So I feel like when Pokemon Quest came out, people said it's kind of similar to Pokemon Rumble. Is that accurate?
It's a little bit like that. You have more like agency over what your Pokemon does and where it goes in the Rumble games, but like it's the basic gist of that, where you have, like, I think you do have the same amount of attacks, like you have 2 to 3 attacks or whatever, rather than the full 4 and like that whole thing.
Yep,
it exists. It's not that big a
Yeah. So I bet that does beg the question: what do you think that the actual DNA Pokemon
I
game
don't
is?
know. I don't know. Like like I I want to think that they'll probably do like along the lines of like what they did with like Fire Emblem, where it's
Hmm.
just Fire Emblem. You know,
Hmm.
like it's Fire Emblem, but like with microtransactions. And I could see them doing something similar with Pokemon, where
Yep.
like Pokemon Go kind of leaves this like void of like an actual Pokemon game on mobile, and like people have been saying like forever, like just put Pokemon how it is on the phone. Like Bob's always
Uh-huh.
talking about that, where he's like, just do that, you know, because like
Yep.
Pokemon's not super like driven by the button inputs, you know, like it's
Hmm.
just mostly menus.
Yep.
So that could work on the phone.
Yep. I think no, I'm with you there. It seems like that's their MO with most of their games that they do. So like they did Super Mario Run, which is
Mhm.
pretty much Mario, but the phone style of
Right.
it, like made so that it's just so that it just works on phones. So which means it's an
Pokemon Gun coming exclusively to mobile.
I do wonder if they're going to do a third one with that, like what that's going to be. But nevertheless,
They didn't do a third one with X and Y.
yeah.
So
So maybe
there's
they won't.
precedent that they just don't
Yeah.
do it.
Um, but yeah, that's it. So I think I could definitely see that. And so I think they also did Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, and they did Fire Emblem Heroes, and all of those pretty much are like just a lesser version of the regular IP, pretty much. So here's hoping that that's what they do also with Pokemon. But we'll see.
Fingers crossed, my
Yep.
eye.
Yep. And also we'll be crossing our fingers. This is talking about this will a little bit be going into E3 again, perhaps. But this week, Microsoft and Sony announced a partnership of sorts,
Mhm.
which is interesting and indirectly impacts us as Nintendo fans as well. But long
Dang.
story short, Sony doesn't have the infrastructure to compete with cloud gaming that like Google does.
What?
Uh,
You
um,
would have never thought that.
True. So yeah, they don't have that. They're not going to have that. It costs too much money to build all that, and so instead they're going to be using like
That's
Microsoft has
why
been building
PlayStation
Azure
now
stuff.
is garbage.
True. Maybe not for much longer. Hopefully not for whoever plays it. So yeah, so that's neat. In any case, fun to see those two working together. Um, and I don't know how much it'll impact the way that Sony really interacts with other gaming companies.
Yeah, no. This is like not like this is very
It's like
much
a back
so
end
a
thing.
Microsoft and Sony partnership, less so than it is an Xbox and
Yep.
PlayStation partnership. Like
Yep.
obviously like it's going to benefit PlayStation in the sense that like their cloud gaming will ideally be better.
Yep.
But it's not going to be like a Nintendo plus Xbox situation. We're not going to
Right.
see the better together commercials with Xbox and PlayStation. That's not happening in the near future.
Yeah. I agree. I think what it hopefully does mean though is because yes, I think Xbox and PlayStation are still mostly like I think just PlayStation is just wants to not wants to stand on their own
Yeah.
and not really do anything with other
Until
people.
they're losing, and then
Yes.
if they start losing, then they're
Uh-huh.
gonna be like, "Hey, about that
Yep.
partnership."
Right. And honestly, then at that point too, they'll have something to go back to and be like, see, we've been starting this for a long time. And it'll look like it was in good faith, even though, maybe it wasn't or something.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, we'll take that as it comes. If at some point they lose a little bit, then like I think all the more everybody wants more and more the console wars are kind of dying to where everybody just wants everybody to be doing well. eh,
I
More
I
than
I
used to be the
think
case.
I think on the business side, people
Mhm.
want that, but I think for the most part, it's largely unchanged with
Mhm.
fans. Like,
Fandom
fans
wise.
still very much so buy into the whole console war situation.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
that's one thing that Sega's legacy did for games, you know what I mean? Like
Thanks, Sega.
like
Um,
Sonic, whatever, dude. Whatever.
uh-huh.
But like the console wars, they invented that.
But yeah, this hopefully also means good things for well, I mean, I think we know pretty much that Microsoft and Nintendo are doing a bunch of stuff together. So probably we'll find out fairly soon that Nintendo will be doing the same thing, and that they'll
Yeah,
be,
I think
basing
I
their
think
servers on that.
we'll definitely see them do that. If they go into cloud gaming, I think that Microsoft is going to be the partner that they go to, because like
Yep.
Sony doesn't have the infrastructure for it. Nintendo, damn sure, don't have the infrastructure for it. So yeah, I think that, and they're already best buds. Like they're already both in Seattle. Nintendo just walks down the street and says, "Hey, give us some of them clouds. Give us one or two clouds."
We'll stick a Lakitu in it, Lakitu,
Yeah,
whatever. So that's just exciting. In any case, I think we will. I mean, we'll find out more about it at E3. It sounds like so. Good
yeah.
stuff. I give a thumbs up for anybody who's just listening. You could see my thumb if
You
you were
can
watching the
see
video.
his
You would.
whole thumb on the
Yep.
video.
I've got a pretty strong hitchhiker's thumb right there. See that? Wow. Wowie wow. What a fun time for
What a
you.
thumb.
I don't know. And then last bit of news. This one's just my voice just cracked a little bit there. Last bit of news. This one isn't so much news as much as just an update for anybody who's listening. Capcom and Ubisoft both have some good sales going on right now for a lot of their games that are on Switch. Also, one's on 3DS and some on Wii U, but you're probably not playing those anymore. So you're welcome.
Let me know if you're playing your Wii U in the comments. In
True.
3DS, I guess. Let me know.
Yeah. So just mentioning the games in general, and you can look into it a little bit more if you want. But Mega Man 11, also the Mega Man Legacy and X Legacy collections, Okami, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, Resident Evil Revelation 1 and 2, the Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle, and the Street Fighter collection are all on sale. I'm probably going to pick up Okami because it keeps going on sale, and I keep being like, I need to pick that up.
Isn't
And
it,
I
how much is it? Wasn't it already like $20
It
or
was
something like
$20, and it's entirely a thing of like I'm not playing it right now,
that? Yeah.
and so I was like, I know I'm just going to wait for it to go on sale again because then I'll at some point save that $5. So now I'm going to save that $5. Just since I wasn't playing it at the beginning. And then Ubisoft's games are Child of Light and Valiant Hearts, which are two of their UbiArts games, and they seem fairly cool, I guess. Just Dance 2017 through 2019, Mario plus Rabbids is on sale for like $19.79 instead of the $60. So if you haven't played that,
Still not doing it.
yep, I really enjoyed it. Just saying, it was a
No.
good old time.
Ubisoft, give me $17 and I'll play Mario plus Rabbids, all right?
There you go.
Nothing
If
short
you
of that.
if anybody likes like just tactical kinds of games, there you go. I mean, that one's coming out. Stuff kind of like Wargroove, and it's fun and lighthearted compared to obviously like Wargroove or Fire Emblem or something like that, but similar kind of thing. I mean, and it's set up like XCOM, but it's got neat combos and leveling people up. I don't know. I enjoyed it a
And
good bit.
Mario with a gun, because
Mario
that
with a
makes
gun,
sense.
just killing all the people, stomping on heads and shooting them up, bloody and gross. Not really. Rayman Legends, Monopoly Risk, and Uno, the South Park games, like Fractured but
Wait,
Whole,
are they
and
together?
no, they're separate. I just
Oh,
listed them
okay.
here together so that I could read fewer words.
Okay. I mean, you read
um,
the same amount of words, but
I surely did.
I,
Sports Party. I don't really even know what that is, but I guess it's like a Wii
it's sports
Sports
party,
kind of.
dude. It's a sports party.
Come on, get it together. Everybody knows what a sports party is.
Obviously, it's a sports party.
Starlink is half off, so it's $30, and it comes with the digital version. Is like if you're gonna get it, unless you want the toys, digital version's the one to get because it's got most of the DLC already in it, except for like two things. So there's that. So I've actually thought about it, and I've got other things planned, so I'm not gonna bother. And Trials Rising. So there you go. There's
There it
all
is.
of that.
All the UB games.
Indeed, and that ends our news bits. But it brings us to a fantastic part.
We saw Detective
We
Pikachu.
sure did.
My guys. I saw it 3 times.
I saw it once and need to see it some more times.
Fake fan. You know what
Hmm
I mean?
So, and when
Fake
I saw
fan.
it too, my wife was starting to feel real sick. Well, she was already feeling sick beforehand, but then
I
like
was about to
20
say,
minutes in,
how
she's like,
dare you
"Oh
bring
yeah."
Detective Pikachu?
About 20 minutes in, she was like, I've got to like go home or something. So I walked her
How
out to the car.
dare she?
Yeah, so we need to see it again so that she can watch it because she's only a Pokemon fan because of me. Good times. But yeah, Detective Pikachu. What a time. You made a
I'm
video on it.
upset. I'm upset.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I mean, like, I didn't really want to talk about the movie in the video so much so that I wanted to talk about the conversation around the movie. Because that's kind of like the thing that we do, you know.
Sure.
Um, and like, everybody was like, and I love this movie, you know.
Yeah.
But like, I think people are exaggerating the impact that it's going to have on video games.
Yeah.
Because like I mean, like Pokemon doesn't like its impact doesn't then decide the impact of the gaming industry. You know, like Pokemon took over the world several times,
Yeah.
and that didn't make gaming as a whole bigger. It just made Pokemon bigger.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it created some offshoot things, sure, like Digimon or
Yeah,
whatever. Like, I can't even think of all that many, to be honest. Like, it made some clone type things, but it didn't really
but
impact,
it
like,
didn't. It didn't then.
RPGs were still
You
RPGs,
know,
like,
yeah. It wasn't like, oh, now that your grandma knows what Pokemon is, I bet
yeah.
she'll be in the Mortal Kombat. You know,
Yeah.
like the fact that Detective Pikachu is good does not then mean like, oh, now the Mortal Kombat movie that they just announced is going to be great. You know,
Right.
like, no.
Yep. I mean, the thing too, and I was saying this even before the movie came out, but it's just a different kind of game than Mortal Kombat is in the first place. So adapting a Detective Pikachu, very narrative, like, crime solving kind of game is completely different than adapting just a fighting game. That
Yeah,
has a story for sure, but like it's just different approaches because you're still getting like a story based game. You can still get more. It's mostly a story. So then, if you do it in movie form, you can feel like it's closer to the source material than
yeah.
a
And I
fighting game
mean,
would
like, it
be.
really just depends on like if the game is like able to be transferred into that. Like even if
Right.
it's not like traditionally like heavy narrative, like I think that
Hmm.
they can make a pretty good
Yeah.
Zelda game. Like even
Yes.
they did that somebody made like an animation of a Zelda thing where it was like a Pixar-esque situation and Link just didn't talk, you know? Like and they could like legit do that. Like they could do like the Wally style of like
Yeah. I mean,
storytelling
well,
where everything around them talks,
uh-huh.
but Link still doesn't.
Yep.
um, so like, yeah, I think that there are ways that certain IP can be adapted, but it really just depends on what the value of that IP is. Like, I don't know if they could do Mortal Kombat right because like the value outside of the fighting for a lot of people is just like how visceral and like over the top it is, and I don't know if we could do that
Yep.
in a movie.
I
You
mean,
know?
I think honestly, another one that's it's a very different. Well, only kind of different demographic in some ways, but like the Angry Birds movie. I don't know. It's one that comes to mind where it's like
Yeah.
I think a lot of kids did like that movie, and it was
Mhm.
just, but really what it was, it took kind of the very minor tropes of the game. I haven't seen the movie, but like, I've seen trailers for it, so I guess I know a little bit about it. But like birds versus pigs, and the birds want to knock down some of the pig stuff. They're against each other. You can build a storyline out of that. So
Yeah.
like that kind of thing, I feel like translates. I can't remember exactly the point I was starting to make with all of this, but
Where it's like something doesn't need to be like fully fleshed out in that way as
yeah,
far as story. The world just needs to be there. And then
yeah,
you can build the story around that.
yes,
And that's
exactly.
like a lot of what I was talking about with Pokemon, where it's like
Yeah.
Pokemon is uniquely positioned to be one of the best video game movie franchises because the
Hmm.
world is so big already. Like
Yep.
it's not this thing that like Hollywood needs to like fabricate and say like,
Right.
oh well, Pokemon is kind of like this, so we can just make it like this movie, you know? Where it's
Mhm.
like, no, Pokemon already has these stories that can be told and retold in different ways with different characters. So you don't have to think like mess up
Yeah.
people's idea of Red or Ash. You know, like they don't
Uh-huh.
have to look at the thing and be like, oh, that's not how Ash is. So I hate that movie. They
Yep.
could just do a completely different character.
I think the thing, honestly, the Mario movie, if there's any that quote unquote break the curse, it would be the Mario movie
Yeah,
more so than the Detective Pikachu one, because that's one where like it's a guy jumping a bunch to try to save Peach,
right.
and that's it.
Also,
Like,
it was like a franchise that contributed to the idea of this curse. When
right.
people think of video game movies, they think
Exactly.
that Super
Yep.
Mario Brothers movie.
Yep. That's exactly true. So I think that one would be a good, and it would set an example. If it's done well, it would set an example of how, like, okay, you can take something and not just try to adapt exactly note for note. I mean, one example is, so my mom loves reading books. Lots of people love reading books. And as a kid, she read Alice in Wonderland and then saw the Disney Alice in Wonderland movie and was like, "This is dumb. Like, this isn't anything like the book. I can't believe it was like I guess the first book she saw that then she watched the movie of, and she was like it's nothing like it. What are they even thinking?" And then she watched an Alice in Wonderland movie that was exactly note for note the book, and she was like, "Oh no, this actually sucks though. That
Yeah,
other one at least was a good movie."
right.
And so, I think that kind of thing, if you see it done well, like see the adaptation process done well once, then that really could help other people think through, like, how do we adapt this well. And then I think having the fact that in Detective Pikachu they had the Pokemon company involved the whole
Mhm.
process, like you talked about in your video too,
Yeah, and it
is
wasn't
such
even
a big
see,
thing.
that's the thing though. Like it wasn't the fact that they decided to involve Pokemon Company. It
Right.
was the fact that Pokemon Company was like, "No, you're not doing this
Yeah.
unless we have a say so in this."
Yep.
And that's why like they're so prominent and like it looks like when the movie starts that they're a
Mhm.
production company. You
Yep.
know, like in the old Pokemon movies, like you see the Nintendo logo, but they didn't do like the whole like like cinematic of like like the Marvel Studios like comic book trailer thing,
Mm.
like in the way that the Pokemon company has like this new logo that we
Yep.
never saw before of it being like, oh shoot, like that.
Doing stuff, guys. Yeah.
That shows that they're like committed.
Yeah. Man. So yeah, that said, that was good thoughts. We'll talk more about it as we go through some of these comments. Here we go. So the first one comes from Procedure Post, and it says, "I think Detective Pikachu
Producer,
producer." Oh yeah, I was reading.
producer.
It's spelled funny.
Yeah.
Wow, good job, producer. It's a pun on deuce, I think. I don't know. I think Detective Pikachu was a decent movie. Not great, but decent enough to encourage expansion on this idea. I don't want a Smash Bros. Cinematic universe, but something similar to a Pokemon Generations or Origins type series that either tells the Subspace Emissary or World of Light stories. I think that has more potential than cinematic universe.
I think that Pokemon specifically, I just think it's a lot more natural for them to like do like if they sound like they want to do a cinematic universe. That's why
Hmm.
like I say that. Like I don't want to like you know how people are like, not every game needs to be open world, like I'm
Yeah,
not saying like something that's not that or that isn't
right. Hmm.
conducive of that should be that, but I think that
Hmm.
that's what they want to do, and I just think a more natural universe would be if it was just isolated to Pokemon specifically.
Yeah,
Because like the Smash Brothers story, although like at least for Brawl, I would say it was pretty well thought out and like what it meant and like it was like this symbolic thing of like Sakurai's growing up and like does he want like that whole thing.
yeah,
But I think that that story would mean sacrificing a lot of what each individual franchise is on its own
yeah,
to become that.
yep,
Whereas with Marvel, they're already that's how they introduce their franchises in their original medium
yep.
is through these crossovers and stuff like that. So it just makes sense that they do stuff like that in those kind of movies. And
Yep,
Pokemon, because it's its own universe, it would make sense if we do this Detective Pikachu movie and you see trainers and that like introduce the idea of like, oh, people do this as their job or whatever. And then like we
yep,
see a trainer movie and then that introduces like, oh, there's Pokemon Rangers, and then we see a Pokemon Ranger movie,
yep.
like it naturally expands. Whereas if they did Smash Brothers, we would see a random Master Sword, and it's like, I wonder what that means, but it doesn't really fit into the Pokemon universe. It would just be weird.
No, I mean, I think you're right. The worlds that Link has and Mario has and Pokemon, like, they're all their own individual separate worlds that exist. And I can't visualize just a planet that happens to have Kanto, and then also the Mushroom Kingdom. They're
Yeah,
just like, we're just part of each other's worlds. And I think the only way, like in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's that these places are either different planets from each other or are on the same planet, like Iron Man and Captain America are just both in America or
yeah,
whatever. So it's just normal that they'd run into each other, but in the same universe already. Whereas the other ones, you really would have to like unless for some reason, you know, Hyrule is on a separate planet, and then the Kanto and all this stuff is on a separate planet, and then Star Fox is just going around picking people up, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, all these planets, let's get together." It would just feel really tacked on and
And it would
forced.
also like it would be weird because like within the canon of Pokemon specifically, they're Pokemon everywhere,
Yeah.
Like Pokemon exist as aliens on
Right.
planets, like on
Yeah.
Earth specifically and stuff like that. So like why aren't Pokemon and Mario? In this universe are they gonna be like Goombas are actually Pokemon? Like it just doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
No, I'm totally with you. Yeah. And I mean, I think there's a difference too. Like in Pokemon, the Pokemon are more akin to animals essentially, whereas in Mario, like Goombas are creatures a little
Yeah,
bit more,
yeah.
so it's not
And
like,
they're also, like, not normal, Like,
yes.
Goombas aren't just like, "Oh, yeah, it's a group of Goombas." It's just like,
Yeah.
"No, oh, shoot, that's a Goomba. I need to jump on that."
Yeah.
You
So I think, yeah, the worlds just don't mesh together in the same way that it works great when it's campy and fun, like in Super
In
Smash
Smash
Brothers,
Bros, yeah.
where like that's how it's designed to be or whatever. But in the context of a movie that takes itself seriously and that like this is a real place and people really live here, you
Mhm.
just can't really do that. Um, I think in any case, but nevertheless, if they decided to do a Super Smash Brothers movie, nevertheless, it could be its own separate thing. It just wouldn't have any tie-in, I think, to this. It would
Yeah.
just be we're doing a Super Smash Brothers
It
movie.
would be like the Spider-Verse situation
Yeah,
where it's like there's callbacks here and there of like, "Oh,
uh-huh.
yeah, that's from that," or
And
whatever,
not
but
live
it's its
action.
own
It
thing.
would be definitely, like maybe the graphics of Ultimate, I would
Mhm.
guess, like a whole movie of the cutscenes of Ultimate. Sure, that'd be cool.
Yeah, because like I think that all of these things, except for maybe Mario,
Mhm.
could exist in live action, or at least in the way that like Pokemon exists, right? Like I could see a
Right.
Star Fox movie where it's like hyper
Yeah.
realistic. I could
Mhm.
see a Zelda movie, I could see a Samus movie, but Mario
Yeah.
wouldn't really work
Kirby
well.
probably. Kirby
Yeah,
couldn't really.
Kirby couldn't either.
Donkey
Um,
Kong,
they
no.
could do Donkey Kong. I think they could do Donkey Kong like the Lion King, sort of like.
Yeah, the only thing with Donkey Kong is I feel like it would be a Sonic type situation a
Yeah,
little bit where it's like he's an exaggerated version of a real thing. And so
yeah,
it would be
but
the
I mean,
temptation
to be
of like,
fair, so is Pikachu.
that's true. Yeah,
So like I think the problem with Sonic isn't that Sonic inherently doesn't work in live
right.
action. I think it's
Yes.
just that they didn't take the elements from because like they're basically like, okay, we need to make Sonic look more like a hedgehog.
Yes, exactly.
But when they were designing Pikachu, they didn't say we need to make Pikachu look more like a rat, but they did look at other animals. Like
Right.
Pikachu's fur is more like corgi like, like they
Oh
base it
man,
off of dogs. They
he
went
is
through and like looked
so
at different
cute.
textures and stuff like that from mammals that aren't just rats,
Right. The
Um,
whole movie, like if anybody hasn't seen it and just likes cute things, just go watch it just to watch Pikachu. Like it's so great just to watch.
also
Um,
Gengar.
oh man, that was
Gengar's the worst one.
oh, yes, I was about to say the same thing. Like he looks rubbery,
Yeah,
leathery kind of like, and that's just not what he's supposed to be,
yeah.
but
Also,
whatever.
his teeth I mean, his teeth, they're unsettling anyway.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
But like they're definitely very strange and
Yeah.
like in the
I need to go back. So we were also sitting really close to the screen because it was just the tickets that were available,
Mhm,
and I definitely want to go back and not sit so close to the screen so that I can get a better. Because I was like that part two with Gengar, he was moving around so fast that I was like,
mhm.
I can't get a great gist of him, but I don't love it.
He didn't look very
No,
good.
but Blastoise looked pretty cool.
Yeah,
Charizard,
literally every
oh
other
my god,
Pokemon in that movie looked great.
I was worried about
Gengar,
Psyduck
I
in the
was like,
first trailer, like back in the day, but Psyduck was awesome. Like they
yeah,
did a great job.
Psyduck was
Literally,
one of the best parts of the movie.
yeah.
Which is, I mean, that sounds like I'm like, this movie's bad. Psyduck, like no, Psyduck was
He's great.
genuinely
I
really
mean, I
good.
love Misty Psyduck. Like he's always just having a good old time.
That was the one thing that was kind of weird about it, though, where it was like I
Yes.
couldn't stop thinking like, this is just Misty Psyduck.
Yeah. And I mean, there are definitely some inconsistencies with the movie versus Pokemon universe where like some moves that I don't know, just stuff where it's like
Okay,
that wouldn't work or
s-
exist.
skip
But
ahead. Skip ahead. If you haven't seen this movie, skip ahead 10 minutes.
Okay.
That's probably overboard. We'll do the timestamps. There will be timestamps. Look
Oh
at the
yeah.
timestamps. Uh, okay, are you going? Be going if you're not. If you haven't seen this movie,
Spoilers.
the one thing that I
Yep.
was like, "What?" was
Uh-huh.
Psyduck and Greninja.
Yep.
Why? Why? Why did that hurt Greninja?
That was yep.
Was that because like I feel like because like I saw it a couple times and I saw it with different
Mhm.
people, and
I didn't think
we
about it until Mitch pointed out. He's like, "Yeah, that's a psychic move against a dark type Pokemon." And I
yeah,
was like,
so like I
"Uh,
mean, I guess theoretically, like giving them the benefit of the doubt,
yeah,
maybe all of these Greninjas had Protean, which is an
uh-huh,
ability that changes Greninja's type based on the last attack that he used. So,
okay,
in theory, since he used
mhm,
Water Shuriken, that would just make him a base water type. Like he would just
okay,
be water. He wouldn't be water and dark. So
yep,
that would be a way to explain it away. But it would be so weird if all of which I mean, maybe not, maybe not. I'm like justifying this in my head where it's like
uh-huh,
it would be weird that all three of these Pokemon have their hidden abilities, but they
yep,
are like these manipulated Pokemon. Like they're messing with their genes and stuff like that to
yep,
make them the best version of themselves, which is
mhm."
kind of like EV. This movie is oh my god. So
No, yeah,
so
I think the other stuff that like the Mewtwo things were a little bit like
yeah.
I'm just going to assume that everything Mewtwo can do in the Pokemon games are battle related things. And
Mhm.
then also Mewtwo happens to have all these other powers that are just not combat related abilities.
Right.
And it's like, okay, there we go. Cool. You did some
Yeah,
things that
because
weren't combat
that
related.
was
We're good.
that was one thing that was never addressed in any way. But it's like I
Yeah.
guess he just has the
He,
power to do that
he
now.
just did Hollywood magic things. Like that's,
Which, like, I mean, I don't know if it's in the Pokedex, but it has been shown that certain Pokemon can do stuff similar to that. Not necessarily put you in a Pokemon, but like take
right.
you out of you.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe he's able to do that, and then also put you into something else.
Yeah. Also, just if please, if anybody's still here, spoilers and all that stuff.
Yes.
This is just for
Look at
people
the
who have seen the
timestamp.
movie.
Just look at the timestamps.
And just in case anybody's landing on this part, I'm just gonna say it. Just the end of the movie. I was like, "What?"
Yeah, how? Because they're talking about doing Detective Pikachu 2. How though?
Oh yeah, I have no clue. But I was like, a so cheesy, but
Yeah,
loved it, but so cheesy. Like
yeah.
very,
And the thing that I heard everybody say, like all three showings, was like, how
uh-huh.
did he get down the stairs that fast?
Yep. So it was that was I was just cracking up. Like walking out of the movie, I was like walking, out of the theater to the bathroom, washing my hands, just cracking up like, what?
Yeah.
What? So I loved it, but it
And
was
they kind of like the third act is like real rushed. Because
yeah,
they're like there's just like certain part like when he's like I hurt people like that's what I do like you got to go
yeah,
away from me
it
you
was,
leave like that could have been completely removed like
yeah,
because I mean like how stories work you got to have
hmm
that added conflict of
right,
like the refusal to call and like that whole thing and
mhm,
like they break up because they have this little bit of
yep.
conflict or at least
But it
Pikachu
lasted like
does
5 minutes.
internally. Exactly. Like that whole thing could have been completely removed. I guess like they needed an excuse to separate Tim from Pikachu.
Right. Yeah.
So that was a good
Story wise,
excuse to do that.
yeah. Was
But like
the Yeah. Out of curiosity, is the ending of the movie at all the same as the ending of the game?
kinda. It's
Okay.
implied that Detective Pikachu is Tim's dad, but
Okay.
not like said directly. And
Gotcha.
you don't see him. Like they
Okay.
don't separate and do all that stuff.
Gotcha.
There are differences in like intent and like what the thing does, because like R is called like rage or something like that. Like it has a name in Detective Pikachu,
Gotcha.
and it's not the same situation, like it's not used to put Pokemon in like this enraged state so that they can be changed into people. It's not that.
Yep.
Um, Also, it was Mewtwo told Detective Pikachu to get the R.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. I do. All right. Done with spoilers.
We're
Maybe
done. We're
done with
done. Well,
spoilers.
if timestamps.
Yeah, exactly. So that stuff. And that was exactly 5 minutes, pretty much within a couple seconds. So that was good. But long story short, not spoilery. We're done with spoilers. I do like how this movie sets up other potential movies as well. So that's
Yeah.
good. As far as within the cinematic universe, they talked about like a Mewtwo movie, and we know Mewtwo's in this movie. So like that's neat that they did. I think they just in general did a good job of setting it up so there could be another movie.
Okay, is this? I don't know if this is spoilers. So potential spoilers again. So they talked about with Mewtwo specifically. They said something about him being created in Kanto 20
Yep.
years ago.
Yes.
So.
Yep. Exactly. I like that there's a timeline put there as well. Which do the Pokemon games theoretically? I mean, because between Gen 1 and Gen 2 was supposed to be 3 years in the actual game. Have any of the other ones? Can't remember. Had like that timing element in the same way?
They do give Mewtwo a birthday.
Yes, that much.
I don't know or
September
remember.
6th, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember if they put a year on it.
I don't think they
Mewtwo
did,
birthday.
but I could be totally wrong. September 6th, please tell me.
February 6th.
February 6th? Maybe September 6th was the day they found him. Maybe not. I just remember September 6th because I am so smart.
Mewtwo's between. Oh, it doesn't say. It doesn't say.
Cool. What a time.
But yeah.
I don't know. Cool. No, I'm excited for all this stuff. Let's keep reading some comments and we'll keep talking about stuff as it comes up. It was such a good movie. It was great. Jordan DeBest says, since I'm one of the 5 people who actually played Detective Pikachu, I was super excited for this movie. It felt like an extended episode of the anime. I also really like how the protagonist wasn't 10, so hopefully Pokemon gets the hint that you don't need Ash to tell a good Pokemon story. I love the character Ash, but it's just time to finish his storyline. I don't think
love Ash?
I love Ash, but more like, but more like, kind of an annoying friend, but it's like, but I gotta love you kind of thing.
You though.
I don't think this is going to fix the video game movie problem right away, but with the way Pokemon Company handled the movie, it could be the start of something. Good video.
Thanks. Good comment.
Bingo bango. Yes, I agree. We don't need Ash to tell a Pokemon story.
Something that I'm surprised didn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to regret bringing this up. Maybe people get mad about this in the comments. But something I was surprised by, like just on the representation side, is like the first main character of their blockbuster movies is a mixed kid. So that was, I think that was a good move as far as America goes.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And it was an interesting move. But I'm also, like I said, I'm surprised that nobody was like upset about that. Like, why is the first trainer dude not? Like, why is he not Japanese or whatever? Like somebody said in the comments of this video, where it's like, I hope that if they do Red and Blue movie, that it's like Japanese. And I was like, I don't know if they necessarily need to do that. Like, maybe have the protagonist be Japanese, but I don't think they need to have everyone be Japanese. Because, like, even in the Pokemon world, not everyone is Japanese.
Yeah. And I mean, much as I sort of hate to say it, I feel like to some degree that would not alienate, but it would make it feel like, oh, this is a Japanese thing. So, like, maybe in that sense, you would Western audiences, which most Hollywood is just targeted at Western audiences. Maybe they would then feel like, it's like, oh, this isn't for us. Like, this is, a Japanese movie that I guess just happens to be in English or something like that.
Right.
Which I don't know. That would be dumb.
Just
but
Pokemon, they need to like keep it diverse like that.
Yes,
like,
yes, totally. Like everybody can be a Pokemon trainer, and as literally as inclusive as possible. Good to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right. I didn't see any backlash at all that I can think of.
Which is good.
Yeah, very good. Look at us making progress.
Or maybe not. Maybe it's just specific to the Pokemon audience.
Yeah, right.
That they're like, because it's always been a thing, like they had people of all races throughout Pokemon.
Yep. Yeah, I guess. Well, so like Gen 1 probably couldn't really represent that very well at all. So like, at what
Yeah,
point did that? Probably Gen 3 is when that could start to
yeah,
be shown, I guess.
right. And kind of through like the anime.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so there's that.
Yep. It's very good things. Grimhain has
Like
a
a
novel for us.
book.
Yeah, we hadn't gotten to read Grimhain's books the last 2 weeks, last week with both of our videos. So,
Yeah.
so here we go with it now. Grimhain says, "I have not seen the movie, but your review is about what I'd expect for it. A movie which is entertaining, gets the story told, and is within the established world of the IP. It's also not a difficult process to replicate for another video game, as long as the game has some sort of narrative. And with that, I mean, even the Mario level of narrative can work, despite the evidence to the contrary, which is the Mario movie. Pokemon succeeded with Detective Pikachu for the same reason they've done well with the animated shows and movie. They care deeply about their products and take care to craft a consistent world across all media as much as they can. Still waiting on an action-based RPG instead of a turn-based one for the games, but this is supposed to be about the movies representing the games, so I'll table this for now. For the most part, if you're experienced in any aspect of Pokemon, be it the games, the movies, the shows, the card game, etc., you're going to at least have a good understanding for hopping into any of the others. There will be some aspects you'll have to learn about and get used to, but those are generally rules. And some aspects you'll have to learn about and get no, and
Rules and issues outside of the
rules and
actual
issues
experience.
outside of the actual experience. Thank you.
Mhm.
For example, you'd need to adjust the specific rules around the card game, but electric would still destroy water types, which would in turn destroy fire, etc. Or going from the games to show it's going to be a faster paced. These are limitations and issues of the medium, though not the content.
Mhm.
Sonic is failing because, despite having at least a few good sources for a story, they're forcing Sonic into our world, and he doesn't fit here. There's a limited to nil examples of Sonic interacting with humans on any significant level, Eggman aside. They're tossing lightning on him because reasons, and sparks are cool. They aren't even consistent within the movie either, as far as we can tell with Sonic's speed. He's either seen zooming at high speed with the world moving normally, or he's successfully shot with a tranquilizer dart, and he's able to move so fast that missiles literally appear to be standing still next to him. Maybe he gets powered up. I don't know. Still part of his comment.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, give us some sort of hint as to how. Otherwise, it's just more fuel for the fire. And contrary to the popular belief that there is such thing as bad press, I'm not interested in seeing Sonic at this point, even if they fix Sonic himself up. There's too much else that doesn't feel good about this movie. Mario the movie will feel Mario the movie feel a lot in of the same issues.
I guess he meant fell
Cool. Yeah.
into a lot of the
Fell
same
into a
issues.
lot of the same issues. Yeah. Ray wanted to make it more in the real world. Meanwhile, Mario up to that point was in a fictional world in Mushroom Kingdom. Had they instead focused on the plot around an accidental and seemingly one-way portal incident which brought the Mario brothers to Mushroom Kingdom, things might have been different. They wouldn't need to anthropomorphize the Goombas or Koopas, and they would have had much more freedom with Toad, etc. But instead, we got the mess of a movie, which got much of the mess of the movie we got, which is almost certainly going to happen with Sonic, despite Logan trying to imagine ways for this movie not to be great. Yeah.
Agreed.
Ooh, good one.
I do think that, like, I mean, there are examples of Sonic interacting with humans, because, like, and I've been saying this over and over again, and specifically to Bob, and he just like is kind of like, I don't know. It's like, you must have not watched a lot of this show. But Sonic X, this movie is Sonic X. That's what it is. It's Sonic X. The only thing that we haven't seen yet is Chris, who's the stupid kid that found Sonic in his pool or whatever. But Sonic had that cop dude or whatever, and he raced him in the car, where it's like, he's like, oh, I gotta catch this hedgehog. He's not faster than me. I'm a Mach 5 racer or whatever. And Sonic raced the dude, and he like dusted him. And he's like, his pride's all hurt. He's like, oh, the fastest race car and all this other crap. And then it like goes off the rails.
Yep.
But yeah, he's interacted with humans and he's been on Earth and stuff like that. But again, nobody would know that because Sega doesn't have a consistent vision for what their character is. And that's why there's like 17 different factions of Sonic fans that are like, 3D games are great, 2D games are great. Some of the 2D games are good, 2D games suck. Some of the 3D games are good. You know, like nobody comes to a consensus on like if you asked 300 Sonic fans, 300, which is a very small sample size. What are the best Sonic games? Their list would be completely different.
Yep.
And not because all those games are good.
Right.
It would be because everybody has a different reason for why they like Sonic. Some people like the edgy, like Sonic 06 BS. Some people like the boost mechanics. Some people are sane, you know, and they like the Sonic Manias of the world. And they think that like, you know, like Sonic Generations is pretty good and Sonic Unleashed has good parts and, you know, but like for the most part.
Yep. It's interesting because I feel like a lot of the things that you said about Sonic is to some degree also true about like Zelda, for example, where like also if you ask 300 different people, they'll have different lists of which ones are the better ones and stuff like that.
But I think that's less because of a lack of vision and more because like Nintendo just really branched out what Zelda is on a gameplay level.
Yes, right.
Sonic, I think, varies pretty heavily, not just in gameplay, but also narratively. Like the Sonic from Sonic the Hedgehog through Sonic 3, you know, like that's not the same story that you're going to see in Sonic Forces, you know?
Yep.
Whereas with
and
Zelda,
that's the thing. I mean, like
pretty
Zelda, you keep rehashing the same story pretty much a couple of times, doing something slightly different. But it's like it's got the same. The tone might be different, but the narrative kind of arc is still about the same.
And I would say even the tone is pretty consistent. It's just visually it's
right,
not.
yes.
You know, like people may look at Majora's Mask or like Twilight Princess and be like, those are the dark ones. But it's like not really. You know, like I would say Wind Waker is darker than those games and narratively.
Right.
But as far as like visually, it looks like, oh, these are the adult ones because it's photorealistic for the time. Which I don't know, people are dumb. But yeah, like I don't know. It's just like certain universes. I feel like the creators care about them to the point where they thought all this stuff out, or they created it in a way that they could. Put the pieces together, and it would be cohesive to the whole fan base. Like a Zelda movie, although like for the most part, a lot of Zelda fans have different favorite games. I think that they all look at the universe in a similar way in terms of like what makes a Zelda game narratively.
Yeah. And I think to some degree too, like there's a lot of the stories tell a different version of the same story. And like, yeah, there's the, you know, the timeline that's kind of messed up and weird and stuff. But at the same time, Nintendo could really make whatever movie story they want for a movie or a show for Zelda, and it would just work. Like, and they'd be like, it fits somewhere else in there, you know, like, and not even have to really go with one of them or not copy one of those, but just have it kind of be something, and people would just accept it because they're so used to like, as long as the kind of the characters and what they represent, you know, like the Triforce, the fact that you know Link is courage, like that's just what he is. Then we're good to go.
And also, like they could effectively just make another game, but as the movie, you know, like how we have the Hero of Time and the Hero of the Wild and the Hero of Trains. You know, like it could just be the hero of whatever.
Exactly.
You know, the Hero of Fire. For the movies. And just create a whole new narrative that just hits on those certain beats or even plays with the beats, but just has the beats represented in some way. It's just like it's the Star Wars thing. It rhymes. You know?
I mean, that's exactly. Like honestly, the same exact way that Detective Pikachu did with, where like I've never played Detective Pikachu, and yes, it's based off a game, but I, as a Pokemon fan, appreciated it just because it did the world justice.
Right.
You know, it did a good job of making me feel like that's the world. Yeah, that's the one. It's a little bit different. It's like a different area because it's in Rhyme City, which is blah 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 blah. You know, but like generally, that's the one.
Yeah, because rather than it being this new thing that like you're already predisposed to dislike because video game movies have a bad reputation, you're not looking at it as this like, oh man, you're taking this thing that I like and putting it in this new narrative or whatever, like that hard, you know, like you're just not only would you, if it was a game that you played, would you be looking at it of like, is this universe realized well, you would also be like, okay, how close is this to the game? Whereas here, the game part's out the window. That doesn't matter because you didn't play the game.
Yep.
And even the people that did, if it looks like the movie was a good adaptation, not in the sense that it was like beat for beat the same thing, but just that it was like in that same wheelhouse of like with the thought behind what that world was in that way.
Yep.
And it was just like how certain plot lines happened, or plot points happened. It just made sense. It added up at that point. Where it's like, oh, okay, that's why Detective Pikachu is like this, and he's that,
Yep. You know what else adds up? Us getting a Waluigi game. I don't know. Before we go, do you have any last thoughts before going into?
I always have thoughts. We can move on.
Cool. Yeah. So yes, I agree with all the things that you said. As per usual, we have fairly similar thoughts a lot of times, except for on some other things. But
for food.
Yes,
and
root beer is still the best.
Maybe I'll just go have some favorite Switch games, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because you're stupid. And
I really am. I'm just a stupid guy who happens to love the best game of all time.
Yeah, Mario Odyssey.
No. I mean, it's probably. I might say it's my favorite game of all time. That's a hard thing to say.
That's a weird thing. It's a weird thing because, like I said, my favorite game on the Switch is Smash Brothers, but I wouldn't say I wouldn't call it the best game of all time for anyone.
Oh yeah, that's the thing too. It's like it's all so subjective anyway. Like,
wait, we're supposed to be disagreeing. No, you're stupid and you're dumb, and I hate you.
Yeah, super dumb. Wow, so dumb. You know who else is dumb? Waluigi. I made a video. It's a little bit dumb. Yeah. He and Wario are both,
Yeah.
Which I had so much fun making this video, and like, not a lot of people watched it, and that's okay.
I think if anybody, you might be fine on this because like the videos about games, they usually have longer tails than videos that are about a specific, like Logan made that Paper Mario video or whatever.
Yeah.
And when he first made it, that was like the worst performing video of that week. But now it's over 2,000 views and it's like slowly creeping up.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, and I'm not even saying it for any kind of clout or whatever, so much as just like, I'd like other people to get to enjoy this fun idea that came up. So, or these fun ideas, I suppose. But yeah, I talked about the possibility of Waluigi game and a couple different options of what it could be like. And a couple of them, I was like, man, I just want that now. It'd be so fun. So
see, and I was telling you like while you were making it, whereas like that is a good sign. Like as I'm making the video, like if the video is about a game that I want, and I'm like, man, I really want this game, and like you're like borderline to the point where it's like mad. You're mad that it's not gonna happen, and not mad in the way that a lot of people come where it's like you're just getting your hopes up, but like mad that like you thought of that. And it's like you can't give that to Nintendo. So you're not mad at them, you're mad at yourself.
You're right, yeah. That's a little bit how I feel with the Super Mario Maker levels that are in my head, that it's like I'm just mad that I'm not making them right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to when it happens. But yeah, so the question of the video was, will Nintendo ever show Waluigi some love by giving him a game, that kind of thing? Ryan says nope, because Waluigi is a pointless side character.
Which, like, so was Yoshi.
That's exactly, well, I said Luigi, but like, yeah, exactly. Like that's everything's a thing until it's a thing,
Yeah.
That's how it all works. So I mean, yeah, Waluigi is very silly, and he was invented to be Wario's counterpart for tennis, but that's not to say that you couldn't still make it into something anyway.
Yeah.
So that was just
the moment that they gave them a personality of some sort is the moment that they could spin off from there and make a full game.
Yeah,
like with Peach.
Yep.
Peach is terrible.
Yeah.
Her game. No, I'm joking. Even though her game, like they couldn't do that game now. They couldn't.
Yeah. I was watching last week's Simpsons episode, and there were some things in there I was like, oh, really? In this climate? It was just funny. It was making jokes about like I don't really care, but it was making jokes about like Homer being a housewife kind of person and some things because Marge was working and stuff, and I was like, that just, I don't know, like it's something about it just seemed funny that like they would do that, but who really cares? It is what it is. If nobody's mad, then I don't really care either. I'm not particularly mad, but um, I just read the middle a lot of times. Nevertheless, other comments. So yes, Waluigi is a pointless side character, but if they make him a game, he won't be a pointless side character anymore. He'll be a pointless main character. Everything's pointless,
Exactly.
but it's all fun. So we love
Exactly.
it. Trevor Grover said he was created to be hated by Nintendo, which he
Yeah,
was just joking.
they just made him as the thing that they wanted to put on the shelf.
Yep. I mean, which, yeah, pretty much. Like, same goes for Super Mario Bros. 2 a little bit. Just like there's just some things that they're
Oh
like,
yeah,
here it
they
is, but then not gonna talk about
just
like Super
not
Mario
gonna
Sunshine,
acknowledge
same
it.
thing. Like they haven't, since Sunshine came out, there's just nothing's happened with that pretty much. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things
Well,
like that.
I mean, I feel like they do that with all Mario games, really, for the
That's
most
true.
part. Like they don't
Yes.
really dwell on one idea that long. The only time
Yeah.
that they actually did that was Galaxy. It was
Yeah.
like, all right, let's make another one of these.
Yep. I do. It would be fun to have a Sunshine remaster, remake, or whatever. Because like
Mhm.
a lot of the stuff in there was cool, but there were just like little things that made big different. Like just some like camera things
Yeah,
that were really annoying. The fact that the levels you had to complete the shine sequentially was like, that's a little bit dumb.
yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, just that kind of stuff where it was like it wasn't as open of a game as it could have been.
Mhm.
Um, and then obviously, yeah, some of the control stuff just wasn't great. But then a lot of the other stuff really was great. So like, if they just fixed a couple small things, it would make a really big difference to just the flow of the game as a whole. But in any case, Trevor Grover had another comment that was a little bit more complete with more thoughts.
Yeah.
Uh, and said, I imagine a WarioWare game where Waluigi's own company is encroaching on WarioWare Inc.'s market and becomes the main antagonist of the game. At the end, Wario and Waluigi's companies merge and they become friends. It's his perfect origin story. I love it so much.
I wonder how that would that just be another WarioWare game?
I think no, I mean I'm guessing it's like a story game. I mean it could be a WarioWare game. Um, Yeah, that's. Well, I mean, I guess so because he says I imagine a WarioWare game. So somehow there would be like some Waluigi levels and some Wario levels where you do separate different things.
Right.
Um, but I think this Trevor's comment and some of the other ones that we'll look at too does the thing that I pretty much want is like the personality that Waluigi has to like take that and run with it,
Mhm.
where they just have fun, like make things that are not just super straightforward, like, all right, just a platformer or something, but take something where it's like, it feels like it takes his characteristics and pokes fun with it. And like, I like the idea that they're competitors at the beginning and then at some point they arbitrarily just become friends at the end. Like,
Yeah. They just
like a,
they see that Mario is like doing something vaguely similar, and they're like, "Oh no, we gotta
uh-huh.
combine together." And then it
Yep.
ends up not even being Mario.
Yeah, exactly. They find out their mother's names are both Martha and they're like,
Oh my
no, now we've got to
god,
be friends. So but
I
like that
hate
kind of
that.
stuff, yeah, is like what I'm looking for. Where it just the whole thing, it feels like you played a pointless game that was just fun. Like honestly, some stuff from like kind of Undertale's sense of humor a little bit.
Mhm.
I think would do a good job. So Wes Cretella says I would start with a Wario and Waluigi game and then a solo Waluigi game.
Yes, that I
Yep.
mean, yeah, that would be a safe way to do it. That'd be the Marvel Comics way to do it, or
Yeah.
comics in general. Being
Yep.
like, we don't know if people care about this character yet. Let's put him with Spider-Man.
Yeah, right, exactly. And that's I think I agree. I think that's a good way. Even if they just leave it with the two of them being together, like I could a platformer would work, like a Wario Land 1. I mean, that was one of the ideas that I mentioned in the video. But then also like Waluigi and a Wario and Waluigi RPG also talked about that. Like I feel
Yeah,
like that would be a lot of fun. And it's already niche enough to where like the people that are part of that niche, whatever, would also want to, go into that, I'm pretty sure.
yeah.
So that would be lots of fun. So Sam Diaz, what's up, Sam? Says, I would definitely buy Waluigi's stealth game where
Oh,
Waluigi's main goal is to get pervy pictures of
oh my god.
Daisy You'd have to sneak around her toad guards, infiltrate the castle, and angle yourself for the perfect shot, all without getting caught.
I don't like angle yourself being part of that
True.
comment. That makes it seem even worse.
But
I don't think Nintendo would make that game.
probably not. But I like the stealth concept of it. I mean, even
Yeah, when he said stealth, I was like, "Oh, that sounds interesting." The rest of it, I was like, I don't know
uh-huh,
if that would be something." I think that's in the Princess Peach category, Super Princess Peach category of like
uh-huh.
maybe if they made
Yeah.
it in 2006, then we would be fine.
Yep.
But now, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I
Granted, I
definitely.
mean, they made a game about your sentient panties, so well,
That's
Nintendo
true.
didn't, but
I mean, yeah, right, exactly. But somebody did.
yeah,
So I
somebody
mean,
did.
they
And
can just
it's
hire
on
out a different
Nintendo.
company to make this, and it'll work out. There you go.
Yeah,
They can
and
hire out
then
a company.
make a shell company
Yeah.
called ODEDNet 2 or something.
That was really
Do Nintendo backwards,
good. Uh-huh.
and nobody will know. We'll be none the wiser.
But yeah, I like the idea of a stealth game. I mean, I would like it to be something that's completely separate from the other Mushroom Kingdom characters. Would be fun. So a stealth game would be really neat. Doing some
Make
kinds
a
of things.
Lackey 2 game. I guess that's Mario 64. Mario 64 is
Yeah,
already a Lackey 2 game.
that's true. You're just kind of like you're just imagining Lucky Two is just kind of shouting out what he's supposed to be doing or something
Yeah.
because you're playing as Lucky Two.
Yeah.
Last but not least, Pablo Cabici says, I'd want a time travel game where he messes with time in fun ways. Maybe something with a Mario Bro babies.
Oh, snap. That would be crazy.
Yeah, I'm down. Any wild and wacky ideas you guys have are yes, absolutely down with them. I
Yeah,
just would love to
Waluigi's
see a
weird. You can
Waluigi
do
game.
whatever, man.
Yeah, seriously, that's the fun part. It's like they don't really have to worry too much about it. Besides, it costs money and marketing and all that stuff. So like they would have to worry that it sells. But as far as like the concepts behind it, like
Yeah, but like
they
at
just
this
go
point,
crazy.
I feel like Waluigi is a character that you can pin a game up on just
Yep.
because he's a meme now. And
Yes.
memes, they sell.
Yep. They
So
truly do.
there it is. Just,
So that's
use
that.
that meme power,
Uh-huh.
Nintendo.
It's good stuff. So yeah, that's all we've got as far as those comments go. But we've still got some questions that you guys ask us. Oh, you added some questions there. Nice. Look at that.
I added comments from last week or
Ah,
the week
perfect.
before that.
Yeah, okay, nice. So you guys can ask us questions on our Discord or on YouTube, where AJ typically posts up, or drop my headphones, posts up whether or not you guys want any questions on the community page. And then
Or
you can do that
in
and
the
then ask us questions
comments
and then we talk
of
about them.
this video.
Very true.
Also there, because I'm going to pull those comments too.
Yeah, good stuff. So let's get into these comments. First up, Lizdrin, where's the streams, dude?
Ask Twitch. I paused those streams because it wasn't really like on YouTube specifically, it was actively hurting us. They weren't like
Mm,
recommending videos as much. Like
yep.
you can see where your views come from. And the week that we started streaming, our suggested views died. So
Man.
it's like it was like, all right, can't do that
Yep.
anymore. Once
Yep.
I realized that. So then I went to Twitch and they gave me the thing for affiliate, but then when you get affiliate or really anything that Twitch sends you money, they want you to fill out this tax form interviews thing. I did that, but they're not reviewing it. So it's just sitting in limbo.
That's what.
And I can't proceed because there's no way to cancel it and resubmit it. They deprecated the email that they used for support for that,
Mhm,
so there's no way to email them and say, "Hey, you guys didn't review this." So it's
mhm.
just like
Yep. Just hanging out. I'll use some magic powers and make it work. I mean, I guess if at that point, if we want to stream anything, the only way to do it then would probably be on this channel. But
yeah.
then, I mean, the only people, I
Even
mean, you
then,
guys
like,
would maybe,
I mean,
and that's
at
it.
any rate, we would just do it on Twitch, but it just would be for the community of it all.
Yeah.
Like there would be it would essentially be a waste of time for and as far as like the job side of it,
Mhm.
because like there's no way to gain monetarily because they blocked
Mhm.
us off from that.
Yep.
Um, I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I don't know.
we will see what happens. But hopefully we'll get to streaming soon. And I don't know. Whenever that happens, it'll happen, and we'll let you know. Thanks for the question, Lizdrin. Eric Henley. What's up? Eric
What up?
says, with the release of Mario Maker 2, do you think there's any possibility to see another type of game like that, such as Mario Kart Maker? I think making Mario Kart tracks could be very fun.
Uh, I don't know. I feel like Mario specifically is really good for this,
Hmm.
like the platforming games,
Right.
just because the formula is simple yet effective.
Hmm.
Mario Kart, I feel like is way easier to mess up, and also I don't know if you can like maybe in terms of like its value marketing wise, like
Hmm.
Mario Kart being Mario Kart, the thing that sells 20 plus million units every time
Yep.
it comes out.
Yeah.
Um, maybe on that end, but at the same time, like they could just put that in a Mario Kart game.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think the only way we'd see that with Mario Kart would probably be in Mario Kart 9. Is that, and now you've got a level creator thing, and
Right.
or a track creator, which they already have some of the framework for it from the Labo stuff.
Mhm.
Theoretically, it would be different than that was, but there is a lot more that goes into. I mean, there's a ton of physics stuff and whatever that goes into Mario, just 2D traditional Mario, but I think there's a lot more issues that might come up with Mario Kart that you know need to be considered at that point where there's more angles or stuff. I don't know, maybe not, maybe I'm just dumb, but I think it wouldn't be a standalone thing in the same way.
Yeah.
As far as other games doing that, I mean, like they've, people have speculated about a Zelda maker for a long time.
Which I also think is weird.
Yeah,
I think
I mean, it
it's
would be cool to make Zelda dungeons, but it just wouldn't be. I don't know. Like they're a lot longer. They're not like bite sized, and because they're something about it just feels like it wouldn't quite. I mean,
it's
it could.
not simple enough
Yes, right.
for like the common man to be able to make an interesting one,
Uh-huh,
like there's a lot of crap on Mario Maker, there's a lot
right.
of bad levels, but there's also a ton of really good stuff, and
Yep.
that's because the lowest common denominator can make something that is at least playable. I don't know about that with Zelda though.
I mean, I think that's the thing with like, yeah, the basic Mario level has jumping and running, theoretically, and then you finish it, and it's like, oh, it was fun. You can kind of explore, just do things. It's fun interaction in there, depending on what style the level is for Zelda. Like if it's say it's Link to the Past or something like that, you could put enemies in there, and then it's enemies and puzzles and some hazards, probably. Like that's most of what it is. But part of what makes the puzzle the dungeons great in Zelda is the progression, that like I got a new item to use in this
Right.
dungeon here.
Yeah,
And if
and
there's only
there
like
would be
I
no real way to do that on the
right,
player side.
yep,
Like you can't, like you walk into a Zelda dungeon and it's like, oh man, there's a lot of like weird branches. That probably
yep,
means I want to get a grappling hook. There's no real good equivalent to that where other than reusing those items and being like, oh, this is the grappling hook dungeon, you can't do anything
mhm,
that is like your equivalent of like, oh, this one has a fire rod or like you're not
yep.
able to make your own items.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I think so at that point, either you would do stuff based around just one item, which you could do cool stuff, I'm sure. Like the top echelon of people that make it would make really cool stuff. Or you could do stuff using a bunch of them, which again, the top echelon of people would make cool stuff. But the base level of Mario it's a platforming level that probably kind of sucks. Whereas the base level of a Zelda dungeon is you solving really boring puzzles and
Yeah.
having to kill some people. Like the minute to minute actual movement type gameplay of Zelda isn't as rewarding as Mario is, like tactile wise or whatever. Like it, honestly, except for I feel
Basically,
like it Wild, like,
puzzles
but
are harder to think of because you have to think of the problem and then the
yeah,
solution,
yeah,
and the solution has to be solvable but also not obvious.
yeah,
You don't have to do that with a Mario level. It doesn't
Right.
have to be this like super well thought out thing. It
Mm,
just needs to be either well thought out and clever or super challenging
right.
or interesting visually. Like there's a
Mhm.
lot of like
Yeah.
branches that you can go off on and be like, oh, this level has value for this reason. Whereas Zelda is pretty one note in what its value is.
Yep. I feel like honestly, Sonic Maker would also be just as hard. Where like it wouldn't. It's
Sega's
not.
very much good Sonic.
I mean, like there are definitely some great Sonic fan games. Obviously, like
Yeah.
Sonic Mania is made by people that make great Sonic fan games.
Mhm.
But the lowest common denominator, the kind of platforming in it is just not as well built for that because there's a level of speed that becomes involved that it's not as much fun to take everything one jump at a time as it can be in Mario. So I think, even Sonic wouldn't work that great. So like Mario is kind of fairly unique. I'm sure there's other games, that could fit within that, but Mario's kind of the main one. But I wouldn't be entirely surprised to see a kart maker in Mario Kart 9 to
Right.
answer that part of that question,
Yeah.
like you were saying.
Yeah.
Yep. So good question, Eric Henley. I
Give me a
like it.
Pokemon maker, which would also be terrible.
Be horrifying. Opinions are like us says, what are you most excited about for Mario Maker 2? Any hopes for things
Let's
currently
break
not
this
announced?
one up. Let's break this one up.
Yes.
Uh, okay, most
Here we go.
excited about for Mario Maker 2. Playing a multiplayer with Bob on streams.
Nice. Man, that's a great question. So many things. I think honestly the level creation right now, like that's really vague and broad, but like I didn't play Mario Maker 1 because I didn't have a Wii U. How dare I? I
How
know.
dare you?
But but I'm just excited to create some fun levels right now. Like I'm also going to be excited to play them, but what's on my mind right now is just making some cool levels. So there you go. That's the thing.
I dread that because I spend way too much time on that side of it. Like that's
Yeah.
like the whole reason why I even stopped making levels in the first Mario Maker because I spent so long being like, what is something that's interesting to
Yep.
make? And I feel like even like back then, I didn't. I mean, I had Fanatics 4 started the year that Mario Maker came out.
Hmm.
Um, so like I had the YouTube channel, but we didn't have like a set schedule. Like we didn't have a set schedule and like it wasn't like a thing until like
Yeah.
last year,
Yep.
So like that's like a whole another variable that I would have to solve for because I'm like, I'm
Yep.
sitting here using all this creative energy and time
Yep.
on Mario Maker
Yep.
that I should be using for videos. So like I don't know how long
Yep.
I'm gonna spend on doing that.
Yep. Theoretically, I wouldn't be opposed to not maybe streaming, but either streaming or like recording and posting on the directly to you channel or whatever. Like if I'm making levels,
Mhm.
just put it up here
Yeah.
for people to watch
Yeah.
later. So let us know if you're interested in that at all. Watching that kind of thing. Maybe nobody is. Oh.
Who knows?
It would just be a thing. But yeah, I'm excited about making levels. And you're right. I think I will also take way too long to do that. But I'll probably try to do a lot of it with my friend Mitch just because I think he and I have a good energy of like back and forth of bouncing ideas off each other and stuff,
Right.
which means we'd be able to expedite some of that process a bit better and to get it figured out. So we'll see what happens there. The next part of the question is any hopes for things currently not announced? Yes.
Uh, I want. Do I? I Pikmin 4, I guess.
Well, I think this is within Mario Maker
Oh, for
2.
Mario Maker. I thought he was. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so Mario Maker. Um, hmm. Anything that's not
Online
enough.
creation, maybe for
I
you?
don't know for. I mean, yeah, but I feel like that's kind of like that would be like the equivalent of me being like, I hope real time battles are in Pokemon. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty wrapped up that we know
Yeah, right.
that it's not gonna happen. Oh, the amiibo skins.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I want.
Yep.
Give me that.
Totally. That would be very cool. And also, ideally, that it's in more than just
Yes.
Super Mario Bros. Like the original.
Right.
That it's in at least, maybe not New Super Mario Bros. Because that would be a thing, but maybe at least in,
Put it in New Super Mario Bros.
yeah, I mean, it would be
Just
very
make them
cool.
up.
So
Make them
maybe
up.
just have fewer of them. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Like, just do it, please.
Do it.
Otherwise, don't do it. Also, for me, I think main two things are, and we're going to find out about this. This one isn't even, just that the new, actually, well, that one of the new styles, maybe there's only one, but is something just cool. So, like, Super Mario Bros. 2 would be cool, but like, I'd love Galaxy kind of thing. And even if it's like, so what I was thinking too is it would be hard to design well, but
Mario Sunshine. Give us
oh,
five.
honestly, yeah, I would. That would be awesome. Would be Mario Sunshine.
Because like
And
I said, like 3D World is already pretty much Galaxy, except for like like the gravity side of it.
so, but that thing, I was thinking in Mario Odyssey, there's 2D sections that have
Mhm.
that gravity stuff to where like
Right.
they could just pull it from there, and then like there'd be some test. It would be tricky for
Mhm.
sure. Um, I don't know how it would work for sure, but it would be cool. So I would really love one of the other actual like 3D styles to be in there as 2D. That would be one thing. And then the other hope is that there's some kind of, if not now, then later, some kind of way to create worlds, even if there's no like specific overworld, that
Yes,
I
I
could
agree with
group
that.
levels together that I make. Because like some of the ideas that I have for levels are things like a theme that would be 12 levels that
Mhm.
I'm going to make and want them to be put together besides
That was
just
like
being like, here's the title for each of these.
I think that was like the only thing that across all the videos that we made,
Yep.
whether it be like in collaborations with Bob or
Mhm.
on our channel, that was like the only thing that didn't happen, really. Um, and I guess no,
Yeah.
because creation, I don't
Online
think,
creation, I
yeah, I
guess.
don't, yeah, but there's multiplayer creation,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
there's
exactly. There is. Yep.
online multiplayer. So like pretty much
Mhm.
everything that we said, like do this,
Yep.
happened.
Yeah. And I
Oh,
like, yeah, I really,
the Mario Maker 1 levels. We don't know about that.
oh, if they bring those across, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was thinking about that too. It would be cool if they brought across anything rated above blah blah blah, whatever. Like
Just
if
bring it all back. You got it. You have
yeah,
that information. Just, you know.
yep. So it would be really neat. But those are my two main hopes at this point. And honestly, yeah, no, both of them just as much as the other. The more realistic one is some way to tie your levels or your worlds together and making like a
Yeah.
kind of thing. But in general, too, it would be really cool. Actually, well, the last part of the question is anything we know that's disappointing, and I'll kind of say this off of that is it seems like the way to so that 100 Mario make 100 Man is gone. That's
Yes, it is.
fine.
Yeah.
The endless challenge is there instead, which
Mhm.
is also cool. But
Weird.
there's
You only have 5 lives. That's weird.
it is weird. So you start with 5 lives, but then you can gain more as you
I
go
wonder
to.
if they cap you in
I
terms
think
of lives.
it looks like it.
Because in the first one, you're capped at 3 per level.
Yep. It looks like you still are. From at least just looking at the gameplay, like it still had that bar of three, and some of the times they had three, and sometimes it.
Um,
Yep. So that would be. So I think that'll be cool. It'll be hard for sure because like there's some honestly super expert runs are going to be for
but
even
like,
like top
I don't
players.
even know if we have that. Because
That
it
is a
looks
good
like,
question.
because
Yeah.
from how they talked about it, it sounded like they're just levels
Yep.
throughout the game. Like we're just giving you levels randomly.
That would
And
be
it
dumb
didn't look like
if
you
they did.
selected a difficulty.
Yeah, if they don't let you select a difficulty, that's going to be really stupid because then people like who don't really know what they're doing get a super expert level. I mean, or like even me, I'll get a super expert level and be like, I'm nope, I'm not a super expert. Like
If
not yet
Bob
in
could
any
be a
case.
super expert level, you could be a super expert
That's
level.
okay. That's probably true. Um, but watching like some of those levels are like, wow, this is just a challenging thing that like once you get it, like you can do it, but it's hard. And some
I'm
of them
more
are like,
worried about the opposite. I don't want stupid levels, you
yes.
know?
So that's yeah, exactly. The ones where I mean like pick up pipes or any of that kind of stuff where it's like you die a ton of times, but it's like just because you have to do it
Because
a
the
ton of
level's
times.
stupid.
Yeah. So that's the thing I'm disappointed in is that there doesn't necessarily seem to be a way to just like I just want to play some random levels and just unlimited lives and just press the random button and just get a level, skip it if you want, play the next one, get another level, and just keep playing. Like that would be, I think, a good way to just casually, without looking up levels and stuff like that, just getting levels thrown at your face.
Right.
Is what I'd like. But whatever. What about you? Anything disappointing?
The online creation.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yep.
The rest of it was about what I expected.
Yep.
Oh yeah, also the 100 Mario challenge thing is kind of dumb.
True.
But that's about it.
Yep. Good stuff. Comments. This is from 2 weeks ago's podcast, and we'll read whatever comments you leave on this podcast next week. Lizrin says, "Excellent episode, my dudes. Loved seeing your smiling faces." That was a smiling face for y'all. Parker needs a set to record episodes in front of. True. What? Wait, is that a nose ring? That's dope. It is a nose ring. Thanks for doping that. Wait, Parker, hit me with that Pokemon D&D info. My friends have been wanting to play for the first time, and if it was Pokemon themed, I'd be on board. Yes, so it was Casey DeFreitas that talked about it on the NVC podcast, and I looked it up. I think I sent Lizrin a little bit of something, or I replied on that comment, and honestly, if you just look up Pokemon D&D, the first thing on Reddit is the thing, from everything I can tell. That's about all I know. I didn't do a ton of research, but it seems like that's pretty much it. So
that would be the only way I play that. So
yep. Honestly, if you're gonna do anything D&D, you probably would want to find somebody that already knows some stuff about it, because it's a lot for everybody to learn for the first time all at once. There's just so much, and like you don't want to be looking at it'll be just really boring and slow if every time
you're doing it. So look up the Pokemon D&D thing, and then PAX East next year. Let's do it. Make it happen.
Yep, you can do a one-night session of some sort, a little dungeon crawl or something. It'd be very cool.
PAX East is 4 days, my guy.
Oh well, then there you go. Do it for, because you don't have anything going on the rest of those 4 days at PAX East.
Like, who sleeps? You know what I mean?
Platinum Carter says, talk about Isabel, and Animal Crossing for the Nintendo Switch.
And
Animal Crossing for the Nintendo Switch. Isabel and Nintendo Crossing for
Nintendo Crossing. Isabel is cool. Some people are like, they don't like her.
Interesting.
Which is, I didn't know that until I started making Animal Crossing videos, which I should make another one.
Yeah.
One of these days.
Yep. I guess that's something, maybe, I guess after
like
E3.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll find out about, oh man, if we don't find out about Animal Crossing this E3,
oh my
it's going to be riots. Like,
yes.
This is like the time. So, do you think E3's we'll talk about it later. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Crazy Dirt says the show has been upgraded. I suggest doing a duo screen with both of you guys in one shot. But hey, too bad you guys will be in my pocket when I work.
Yeah, we don't really have the option for that. This is as close as it's going to be. Last week I did have it so that you couldn't see like the bottom screen,
the preview thingy.
Yeah, and I think that's in there this week.
I think it's helpful to have that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll see that at least.
Because sometimes,
I mean, if you're watching, you see if you see it. But as far as like split screen, there's not really a way to, there's not really a turnkey solution for that. We would have to film ourselves like independent of Google, and then it would be too much. And a big point of the podcast and why we're able to even do the podcast is because it is like this turnkey solution of just all right, let's plan it out and then record.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my 10-minute videos take 20 minutes to export and take up a bunch of money.
Even this would take forever. Like this podcast that we're recording right now, when I download it and then add the little bit of things that I gotta add, put the end card on there and stuff like that, that's going to take an hour to export.
For your computer, which is way faster than mine. So me getting you my video would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I wouldn't be editing. It doesn't matter. Whatever. In any case, we'll do what we can. Hopefully, I think this will be better in any case, having that little bit down there.
Yeah.
Theoretically. So yeah, but good points. Crazy Derp. Last but not least, F-Zero Kid. What's up, Falcon? It's time, boys. P.S. I like the new intro. Raspberries are pretty low tier. Falcon, get out of here.
These are facts.
With that. I just had something the other day. They were dope.
They're not anywhere as good as oranges. Like oranges are S. Raspberries are like D.
So here's counterpoint: raspberries, double S.
No.
It also depends. It does depend if you're eating fruit for like more like a candy type situation, or like a you know
No.
like a treat snack, or
No.
like
A
a
treat snack.
sustenance snack. You know what I mean? Like those are raspberries are more like, oh, I'm gonna eat some like raspberries. Ooh, yeah, that's neat. Whereas orange is more of a situation like, all right, I'm gonna like eat some food here. Let's take an orange. There you go. I'm making great
No.
points. Everybody's totally on
No.
board.
These are
You
lies.
are.
No. Oranges. See, you just inadvertently just proved
Mhm,
further how much better oranges are
uh-huh.
because they're inherently snackable. You could do whatever you want. If you want it to be your meal and that's all you
Mhm,
eat for the rest of your life, you could do
mhm,
that. If you just want a little bit of orange, like you're
uh-huh.
not in here
Well,
trying to
so
like
here's the question. Okay, what's a candy bar that you like?
I don't
You
know.
like
I'm not a huge
Butterfinger?
candy
Okay.
person.
Well,
Uh
you're a loser. Let's say you love Butterfinger. Is Butterfinger or a PB and J?
okay, let's keep naming
Butterfinger.
candy because Butterfinger is like low tier for me.
Wow, you're so weird.
If I'm going to eat candy, Butterfinger, because the inside of it's like too much.
They changed the inside recently. It's better now. It doesn't get in your teeth quite as much. So for whatever that's worth, it's a thing. And he says oranges indeed are my favorite fruit, with
Yeah,
pineapples bars not too far behind. Falcon,
I'm not a
what are you
huge
doing?
pear guy. I'm not a huge pear guy, but the rest of
I
it,
I like the concept of pears, and I like the
what?
taste of pears.
What does that mean?
It's like I like theoretically I like pears, but so often I'll eat them and they're like
What?
the
What?
wrong texture. So I'm
I
like, I'm
don't.
not gonna do it. You
I
know.
don't understand.
Somebody comment down below if you get what I'm talking about. And
The only context that I can understand that, like in theory, I like this thing is like watermelon. Like I feel like in theory, watermelon's okay because watermelon flavored stuff is good, but watermelon, nah.
what if like with watermelon, in theory you like watermelon, but in practicality it's got a bunch of seeds and you don't want to deal with those? I
Uh,
can see that as a thing.
okay, but
That's
like,
kind of what it's like with pears,
but
where it's
in
like,
reality though, watermelon, they ain't that great. I don't understand the hype.
yeah, they're okay. They're refreshing. That's a thing. If it's really hot, like I guess that's, but you just drink water.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like melons are overrated. You know,
I feel you.
um, the
I'll
best the best melon is grapes. They're, they're effectively shrunk melons. Shrunk melons.
man, we've done a great job with this. What a lovely time. Uh, thank you
This
for
is
all your
the extra
comments.
credit.
This
I
is
don't know
extra
how
credit.
long this podcast is right now.
It's 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's longer. It's longer than normal a little bit. I'm trying to give you guys the deluxe version. You know what I mean?
To do that, all you need to do is add online multiplayer.
Exactly. I mean, this is kind of online multiplayer
That's true.
a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Oh man. All right. Well,
Do all the things. Like, comment, subscribe.
if you're
Tell a
listening this
friend.
far, you know how to do those things.
Yeah. I mean, hey, maybe you're new and you just like fruit and you're invested in how stupid Barker is. And you're
Uh,
like, he thinks raspberries are double S tier. I gotta hear the end of this conversation.
yeah.
And if that's you, then like, comment, subscribe. And if it's
Have
not
you ever
you,
had an orange smoothie? Gross. Raspberry smoothie?
what?
Delish.
Are you dumb? You're
Have you
dumb.
had an orange smoothie?
Oh my god. Ugh.
I just had a
Ugh.
raspberry smoothie the other day, bro. It was so good. I've got some frozen
Oh.
raspberries in my freezer. In my
Mm.
refreezer. Oh man, this is the top tier content right here at the end. Everybody's missing out. I think sticking around. Just saying.
No, this is that. I'm I'm debating deleting this whole entire podcast because of that. Just what you just said. Just right
I'm
there. You said
deleting, upgrading it to
ugh,
not deleted.
gross.
Success.
You just how many things have to go wrong in one's life to form a statement like that?
Four things.
Four.
Had that many things that go wrong, so it's a great, great, perfect statement. and it's wonderful.
No, but
See you guys later.
the question is, do you know that it went wrong? Like it could have went wrong, but wrong is subjective. And
True.
maybe you thought it was right, but like you like root beer, so something went wrong. Something went very wrong.
I wonder what things you like that I don't like. I like a lot of things. Do you like olives?
Nah.
I'm not a big olives guy. I don't know. We'll figure it out. It'll come up and I'll be like, what are you talking about?
Okay. So on that topic, what's the best pizza topping? Let me know in the comments. Let me know.
That's right. That's how to prove that you're a real fan.
Yes.
Is if comment that.
Yes. Okay. Goodbye.
Ready?